It's high noon and feeding time for the Tigers, who have an appetite for picking up as many pigskins as possible. 35 takeaways on defense. Offensively, running back Monte Williams runs after yardage like a lion chasing down its next meal.
I've seen some great men by Herschel Walker and Coach Garrison Hurst. This young man is right up there with him. He's been running the football player, so our defensive game plan would be to try to contain him, not stop him, but contain him.
And while the focus is on the Lion, the Red Devils are actually loaded with a number of gazelles running in many different directions. Running back Chip Wright, quarterback Dominique Mason, and the running and catching ability of Ricky Stokes. It's the hunter and the hunted. It's the survival of the fittest in single A. X. Live from the Georgia Dome, Georgia Public Television presents the Georgia High School Association Football Semifinals. Funding for this program is provided by Georgia Natural Gas Services, Burger King, Touchtone EMC, IBEW Local Union 613, South Trust Bank, and by Gatorade. It's the single A semifinal between Lincoln County and Commerce from the Georgia Dome. And good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to day 2 of the football marathon under the Big Top. I'm Jim Ginocchio. Quite a game in store for you today, which includes the second winningest coach of all time in the state, Larry Campbell, and his Red Devils will go in today against Commerce. The winner of today's game will host the Single A Championship next weekend against the Charlton County Indians. It should be a good one. Joining me again is Single A analyst, Coach Bill Raley from the Lovett School. Coach, welcome back to the Dome.
Thanks for having me. It's going to be an exciting matchup today. These two teams are high-powered, and it's going to be fun to watch them.
Key points to the game quickly as we get ready for this big ball game.
Key points would be Lincoln County's got to stop Williams. He's a great running back. They also have a great receiver in Collins, who's got 34 receptions. They've got to take advantage of turnovers. Commerce has to have a great game out of Williams. He's got to have the great running game. Lincoln County tradition. Commerce has got to find a way to overcome that tradition Lincoln County's has. And the defense has got to bend but not break.
There you have it. So we'll look for those thoughts throughout the ball game. We appreciate you sharing that. We'll be coming back to you at halftime, so don't forget about that. In the meantime, we're going to throw it over to the play-by-play booth. Dave Garner and Dave Cohen. Guys.
All right, thanks, Jim. Again, welcome to the second of two state Class A semifinals. Dave Garner along with Dave Cohen. Again, yesterday, an exciting ball game. Charlton County winning that matchup there. Today, two teams that haven't traveled quite as far away, but very impressive nonetheless. Lincoln County, of course, 7-3 have surprised some folks along the way.
Well, they are, and let's take a look at some of the team statistics as we head into this football game. You'll see a well-balanced football team, well-coached team, regular season statistics coming in at 7-3 into the postseason. Rushing yards, 2,216. 35 touchdowns on the ground, passing 1,273 yards, and getting it done through the year also, Dave, 15 scoring touchdowns.
Flip side of that, the Commerce Tigers, a team that has been ranked #1 most of the year in Class A. They're also impressive on the offensive side of the ball.
Well, another pretty good football team, 10-0 in the regular season, 3,141 yards, a lot to do with Monte Williams, 43 touchdowns on the ground, 1,282 passing yards, and 18 touchdowns. So another well-balanced football team this afternoon. Should be a very good matchup.
It should be a great matchup. Lots of superstars. Let's go ahead and throw it down to the field, and our sideline man, David Evans.
All right, thanks, guys. I was talking to Coach Larry Campbell before the game. This is the third year that Lincoln County's been in the Dome. He said this is their weakest team of the three. Commerce, of course, Monte Williams didn't play last year in the playoffs because of a broken leg when Lincoln County knocked him out. We'll look to see what happens today. Send it back up to Jim Ginocchio.
All right, Dave, we're looking forward to this one. Coach and I will be back at the half to go over some key points and some highlights. It's Lincoln County Commerce, the Single A semifinal from the Georgia Dome, coming up next right here on GPTV.
You're watching member-supported GPTV, your PBS station, serving Atlanta and all of Georgia.
Funding for the broadcast of the Georgia High School Association Championships is provided by...
Gas Guy here for Georgia Natural Gas. Be sure and tune in to GPTV on March 3rd and 4th for the Georgia High School Basketball Championships. We'll be announcing the winners of the Georgia Natural Gas True Blues Student Athlete Scholarships.
Each week, millions of Georgia.
It's a time of celebration.
Into the many intriguing facets of art.
Georgia Art Celebration on GPTV.
Monday at 9 on GPTV. This is GPTV, your PBS station, serving Atlanta and all of Georgia. GPTV, bringing you the best.
It's high noon and feeding time for the Tigers, who have an appetite for picking up as many pigskins as possible. 35 takeaways on defense. Offensively, running back Monte Williams runs out.
It's a time of celebration.
Into the many intriguing facets of art.
Georgia Art Celebration on GPTV.
Monday at 9 on GPTV. This is GPTV, your PBS station, serving Atlanta and all of Georgia. GPTV, bringing you the best.
It's high noon and feeding time for the Tigers, who have an appetite for picking up as many pigskins as possible. 35 takeaways on defense. Offensively, running back Monte Williams runs after yardage like a lion chasing down its next meal.
I've seen some great ones in class, Herschel Walker and Coach Garrison Hurst. This young man is right up there with him. He's a phenomenal football player, so our defensive game plan would be to try to contain him, not stop him, but contain him.
And while the focus is on the Lion, the Red Devils are actually loaded with a number of gazelles running in many different directions. Running back Chip Wright, quarterback Dominique Mason, and the running and catching ability of Ricky Stokes. It's the hunter and the hunted. It's the survival of the fittest in single A. Next. Live from the Georgia Dome, Georgia Public Television presents the Georgia High School Association Football Semifinals. Funding for this program is provided by Georgia Natural Gas Services, Burger King, Touchstone EMC, IBEW Local Union 613, South Trust Bank, and by Gatorade. It's the Single A semifinal between Lincoln County and Commerce from the Georgia Dome. And good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to day 2 of the football marathon under the Big Top. I'm Jim Ginocchio. Quite a game in store for you today, which includes the second winningest coach of all time in the state, Larry Campbell, and his Red Devils will go in today against Commerce. The winner of today's game will host the Single A Championship next weekend against the Charlton County Indians. It should be a good one. Joining me again is Single A analyst, Coach Bill Raleigh from the Lovett School. Coach, welcome back to the Dome.
Thanks for having me. It's going to be an exciting matchup today. These two teams are high-powered, and it's going to be fun to watch them.
Key points to the game quickly as we get ready for this big ball game.
Key points would be Lincoln County's got to stop Williams. He's a great running back. They also have a great receiver in Collins, who's got 34 receptions. They've got to take advantage of turnovers. Commerce has to have a great game out of Williams. He's got to have the great running game. Lincoln County tradition. Commerce has got to find a way to overcome that tradition Lincoln County's has. And the defense has got to bend but not break.
There you have it. So we'll look for those thoughts throughout the ball game. We appreciate you sharing that. We'll be coming back to you at halftime, so don't forget about that. In the meantime, we're going to throw it over to the play-by-play booth. Dave Garner and Dave Cohen. Guys.
All right, thanks, Jim. Again, welcome to the second of two state Class A semifinals. Dave Garner along with Dave Cohen. Again, yesterday, an exciting ball game. Charlton County winning that matchup there. Today, two teams that haven't traveled quite as far away, but very impressive nonetheless. Lincoln County, of course, 7-3 have surprised some folks along the way.
Well, they are, and let's take a look at some of the team statistics as we head into this football game. You'll see a well-balanced football team, well-coached team, regular season statistics coming in at 7-3 into the postseason. Rushing yards, 2,216. 35 touchdowns on the ground, passing 1,273 yards, and getting it done through the year also, Dave, 15 scoring touchdowns.
Flip side of that, the Commerce Tigers, a team that has been ranked #1 most of the year in Class A. They're also impressive on the offensive side of the ball.
Well, another pretty good football team, 10-0 in the regular season, 3,141 yards, a lot to do with Monte Williams, 43 touchdowns on the ground, 1,282 passing yards, and 18 touchdowns. So another well-balanced football team this afternoon. Should be a very good matchup.
It should be a great matchup. Lots of superstars. Let's go ahead and throw it down to the field, and our sideline man, David Evans.
All right, thanks, guys. I was talking to Coach Larry Campbell before the game. This is the third year that Lincoln County's been in the Dome. He said this is their weakest team of the three. Commerce, of course, Monte Williams didn't play last year in the playoffs because of a broken leg when Lincoln County knocked him out. We'll look to see what happens today. Send it back up to Jim Ginocchio.
All right, Dave, we're looking forward to this one. Coach and I will be back at the half to go over some key points and some highlights. It's Lincoln County Commerce, the single A semifinal from the Georgia Dome, coming up next right here on GPTV.
You're watching member-supported GPTV, your PBS station, serving Atlanta and all of Georgia.
Funding for the broadcast of the Georgia High School Association Championships is provided by
Gas Guy here for Georgia Natural Gas. Be sure and tune in to GPTV on March 3rd and 4th for the Georgia High School Basketball Championships. We'll be announcing the winners of the Georgia Natural Gas True Blues Student Athlete Scholarships.
Each week, millions of Georgians depend on Georgia Public Broadcasting for in-depth news coverage, enriching entertainment, and effective classroom support. Using current and emerging technology, Georgia Public Broadcasting delivers outstanding programs that promote learning in our classrooms, in your home, at the work site, and even in your car. Georgia Public Broadcasting, a wonderful resource for Georgia's future, today, tomorrow, and through the new millennium.
Did you know that the International Space Station will require 45 launches? 36 from the United States and 9 from Russia? Man's attempt to create a permanent outpost in space is a reality. New and large components will be sent up to join the growing space station. Get a behind-the-scenes look at the astronauts and the controllers on the ground as they deal with the changing dynamics of this mammoth undertaking. Space Station, the journey begins.
Tuesday at 8 on GPTV.
Next time on Nova, trek to the top of the world on an expedition that's putting a bold new theory to the test. Hunt for clues in a chilling mystery. Science takes a stab at cracking the Ice Age.
Tuesday at 9 on GPTV.
You're watching the Georgia High School Association Football Championships on GPTV.
And welcome back to the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. Lincoln County Red Devils and the Commerce Tigers set to kick things off. The second of two Class A state semifinals here at the Georgia Dome. Again, Dave Cohen, looks like a pretty good contest between two pretty good teams. Lincoln County, like we said earlier, entering the playoffs at 7-3. They've surprised some folks along the way, but they do have history on their side. They are one team that has been here in the Dome. In fact, they won the state championship back in '95.
Yeah, they do. When you talk about one of the best running backs in the season, Dave, you're going to talk about the tailback Monte Williams, 5'7", 165. Not overly impressive when you just see him getting off the bus, but this kid can get it done. 2,124 yards, 25 touchdowns, and a well-coached football team there by Steve Savage.
Yeah, Steve Savage of the Commerce Tigers, and now here you get a look at Larry Campbell, the second all-time winningest coach in the state of Georgia, 325 victories there for Coach Campbell. 29th season at Lincoln County, 27 as the head coach. Over 50 years or so worth of coaching experience here on the field this afternoon. Daniel Carter is set to kick things off, and back deep is Torrey Zellers for Lincoln County. It's a high but fairly short kick that will be fielded at the 15-yard line, across the 20, 25, and to the 20-yard lines, Antonio Norman, and brought down hard by a host of Tigers.
So again, you get these teams out here early, Dave, and everybody's adrenaline's pumping. They're fired up, happy to be playing inside the Georgia Dome, and kind of what we saw yesterday in the Charlton County Miller County game, and we'll see how things move along here early. Game yesterday, we saw Miller County. I think it affected them a little bit. They had those early turnovers that kind of stalled their offense a little bit. Hopefully we'll see a little bit better play today.
Dominique Mason, the quarterback for Lincoln County, under center. He's got Xavier Wright in the backfield, and the first give is right over the right side. He's got room, 35, and hit at the 37-yard line. Stood up nicely by that Commerce defense, but a pretty nice gain on first down. There you get a look at the starting offensive backs and receivers for Lincoln County. Mason, Wright, Freeman, Colvin, the tight end, Stokes, and Zellers. Tori Zellers, pretty impressive wide out. Brooks, Smalley, Quarles, Patterson, and Ramsey, the offensive line. It's going to be second down and short, second and about 3. You should get a look there. Tweon Sheeler of Commerce on the defense. I formation, they give us to right once again, and he stumbles forward to about the 40-yard line. I believe he's going to have a first down. The hit by Eric Moore, the leading tackler for the Tigers.
Well, we'll see Xavier Wright get the call quite a bit today. Coming into the postseason, 121 carries, 824 yards, an average of 7 yards a carry.
They're going to look at the defensive starters for Commerce. Scoggins, Moore, and Cox, the linebackers. Again, Moore, the leading tackler with well over 100 tackles. Sorrow, Daniel, Carter, and Collins, the secondary for the Tigers. First down and 10, ball right at the 40-yard line for the Red Devils of Lincoln County. Darian Freeman, number 26, in at tailback. Twins to the left. And the give is to Freeman over the left side. He's hit, though, and dropped immediately that time by 52. Jonathan Martin, the senior, and also Eric Moore.
Good job by the seniors to get through the offensive line and get them down for a loss of yards. Again, you'll see a fired-up defensive line early on in the football game, too. Want to get in a good position early on. There you see the handoff, and not a lot of room for him to go, and they get a little bit of help. Jonathan Martin there to make the initial hit. Then some of his teammates come over and help him out and just kind of make sure that the running back is down and that there would be 0 yards gained.
Freeman with about a yard loss there brings up second down and long, second and 11. Early on here in the first quarter, and this time they're looking to pass. Oh, it's batted away as Mason was looking for his receiver, but Casey Geary knocking it away for the Tigers.
Heads up play by the junior as he comes in and helps out, keeps Lincoln County from getting anything done on the offensive side of the football. There you see he'll come out and going to roll. Just a heads up play. That's one thing they always tell when you're rushing. Just get the hands up. Always try to bat the ball down, and you know, work that time. And again, that's what coaches teach to the linemen day in and day out. They practice it all the time. Just they want you to be able to do it without even thinking about it.
Third down and 11 for Lincoln County, and this time Mason's going to roll out. It's a keeper to the left side. Not much doing, though, as he's hit hard as he crosses the 40-yard line that time by Martin once again.
Chad Scoggins also getting in there, the senior, helping out on the tackle. Not a lot of room there for Lincoln County offensively. Dominique Mason had 967 yards passing coming into the postseason. He's tried one pass that we saw batted down just a moment ago. But they're trying to keep it on the ground and not getting a lot done, and they're going to be forced to punt.
Monte Williams back deep for the Commerce Tigers. And booting the ball away will be Andrew Smalley. Ooh, a near block there, but they do get it away. And it goes and down inside the 34-yard line by the Red Devils. So the Commerce Tigers for the first time today will be on offense with fairly decent field position, and they've got an offense that has been deadly on the year, needless to say.
Well, they do, Dave. This is a team that coming in was 10-0 to the postseason, and they could put points on the board. They defeated Armurchie 38-20, defeated Athens Academy 37-24, defeated Dooley County 36-15. Their first trip to the semifinals since 1990. They can put points on the scoreboard.
It's a time of celebration.
Into the many intriguing facets of art.
Georgia Arts Celebration on GPTV.
Monday at 9 on GPTV. This is GPTV, your PBS station, serving Atlanta and all of Georgia. GPTV, bringing you the best.
It's high noon and feeding time for the Tigers, who have an appetite for picking off as many pigskins as possible. 35 takeaways on defense. Offensively, running back Monte Williams runs after yardage like a lion chasing down its next meal.
I've seen some great men by say Herschel Walker and Coach Garrison Hurst. This young man is right up there with him. He's a phenomenal football player, so our defensive game for him would be to try to contain him, not stop him, but contain him.
And while the focus is on the Lion, the Red Devils are actually loaded with a number of gazelles running in many different directions. Running back Chip Wright, quarterback Dominique Mason, and the running and catching ability of Ricky Stokes. It's the hunter and the hunted. It's the survival of the fittest in single A. Next. Live from the Georgia Dome, Georgia Public Television presents the Georgia High School Association Football Semifinals. Funding for this program is provided by Georgia Natural Gas Services, Burger King, Touchtone EMC, IBEW Local Union 613, South Trust Bank, and by Gatorade. It's the single-A semifinal between Lincoln County and Commerce from the Georgia Dome. And good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to day 2 of the football marathon under the Big Top. I'm Jim Ginocchio. Quite a game in store for you today, which includes the second winningest coach of all time in the state, Larry Campbell. And his Red Devils will go in today against Commerce. The winner of today's game will host the single-A championship next weekend against the Charlton County Indians. It should be a good one. Joining me again is single-A analyst, Coach Bill Raleigh from the Lovett School. Coach, welcome back to the Dome.
Thanks for having me. It's going to be an exciting matchup today. These two teams are high-powered, and it's going to be fun to watch them.
Key points to the game quickly as we get ready for this big ball game.
Key points would be Lincoln County's got to stop Williams. He's a great running back. They also have a great receiver in Collins, who's got 34 receptions. They've got to take advantage of turnovers. Commerce has to have a great game out of Williams. He's got to have the great running game. Lincoln County tradition. Commerce has got to find a way to overcome that tradition Lincoln County has. And the defense has got to bend but not break.
There you have it. So we'll look for those thoughts throughout the ball game. We appreciate you sharing that. We'll be coming back to you at halftime, so don't forget about that. In the meantime, we're going to throw it over to the play-by-play booth. Dave Garner and Dave Cohen. Guys.
All right, thanks, Jim. Again, welcome to the second of two state Class A semifinals. Dave Garner along with Dave Cohen. Again, yesterday, an exciting ball game. Charlton County winning that matchup there. Today, two teams that haven't traveled quite as far away, but very impressive nonetheless. Lincoln County, of course, 7-3 have surprised some folks along the way.
Well, they are, and let's take a look at some of the team statistics as we head into this football game. You'll see a well-balanced football team, well-coached team. Regular season statistics coming in at 7-3 into the postseason. Rushing yards, 2,216. 35 touchdowns on the ground, passing 1,273 yards, and getting it done through the year also, Dave, 15 scoring touchdowns.
Flip side of that, the Commerce Tigers, a team that has been ranked #1 most of the year in Class A. They're also impressive on the offensive side of the ball.
Well, another pretty good football team, 10-0 in the regular season, 3,141 yards, a lot to do with Monte Williams, 43 touchdowns on the ground, 1,282 passing yards, and 18 touchdowns. So another well-balanced football team this afternoon. Should be a very good matchup.
It should be a great matchup. Lots of superstars. Let's go ahead and throw it down to the field, and our sideline man, David Evans.
All right, thanks, guys. I was talking to Coach Larry Campbell before the game. This is the third year that Lincoln County's been in the Dome. He said this is their weakest team of the three. Commerce, of course, Monte Williams didn't play last year in the playoffs because of a broken leg when Lincoln County knocked him out. We'll look to see what happens today. Send it back up to Jim Ginocchio.
All right, Dave, we're looking forward to this one. Coach and I will be back at the half to go over some key points and some highlights. It's Lincoln County Commerce, the single-A semifinal from the Georgia Dome, coming up next right here on GPTV.
You're watching member-supported GPTV, your PBS station, serving Atlanta and all of Georgia.
Funding for the broadcast of the Georgia High School Association Championships is provided by...
Gas guy here for Georgia Natural Gas. Be sure and tune in to GPTV on March 3rd and 4th for the Georgia High School Basketball Championships. We'll be announcing the winners of the Georgia Natural Gas True Blues Student-Athlete Scholarships.
Each week, millions of Georgians depend on Georgia Public Broadcasting for in-depth news coverage, enriching entertainment, and effective classroom support. Using current and emerging technology, Georgia Public Broadcasting delivers outstanding programs that promote learning in our classrooms, in your home, at the work site, and even in your car. Georgia Public Broadcasting, a wonderful resource for Georgia's future, today, tomorrow, and through the new millennium.
Did you know that the International Space Station will require 45 launches? 36 from the United States and 9 from Russia? Man's attempt to create a permanent outpost in space is a reality. New and large components will be sent up to join the growing space station. Get a behind-the-scenes look at the astronauts and the controllers on the ground as they deal with the changing dynamics of this mammoth undertaking. Space Station, the journey begins.
Tuesday at 8 on GPTV.
Next time on Nova, track to the top of the world on an expedition that's putting a bold new theory to the test. Hunt for clues in a chilling mystery. Science takes a stab at cracking the Ice Age.
Tuesday at 9 on GPTV.
You're watching the Georgia High School Association Football Championships on GPTV.
And welcome back to the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. Lincoln County Red Devils and the Commerce Tigers set to kick things off. The second of two Class A state semifinals here at the Georgia Dome. Again, Dave Cohen, looks like a pretty good contest between two pretty good teams. Lincoln County, like we said earlier, entering the playoffs at 7-3. They've surprised some folks along the way, but they do have history on their side. They are one team that has been here in the Dome. In fact, they won the state championship back in '95.
Yeah, they do. When you talk about one of the best running backs in the season, Dave, you're going to talk about the tailback Monte Williams, 5'7", 165. Not overly impressive when you just see him getting off the bus, but this kid can get it done. 2,124 yards, 25 touchdowns, and a well-coached football team there by Steve Savage.
Yeah, Steve Savage of the Commerce Tigers, and now there you get a look at Larry Campbell, the second all-time winningest coach in the state of Georgia, 325 victories there for Coach Campbell. 29th season at Lincoln County, 27 as the head coach. Over 50 years or so worth of coaching experience here on the field this afternoon. Daniel Carter is set to kick things off, and back deep is Torrey Zellers for Lincoln County. It's a high but fairly short kick that will be fielded at the 15-yard line, across the 20, 25, and to the 20-yard lines, Antonio Norman, and brought down hard by a host of Tigers.
So again, you get these teams out here early, Dave, and everybody's adrenaline's pumping. They're fired up, happy to be playing inside the Georgia Dome, and kind of what we saw yesterday in the Charlton County Miller County game, and we'll see how things move along here early. Game yesterday, we saw Miller County. I think it affected them a little bit. They had those early turnovers that kind of stalled their offense a little bit. Hopefully we'll see a little bit better play today.
Dominique Mason, the quarterback for Lincoln County, under center. He's got Xavier Wright in the backfield, and the first give is right over the right side. He's got room, 35, and hit at the 37-yard line. Stood up nicely by that Commerce defense, but a pretty nice gain on first down. There you get a look at the starting offensive backs and receivers for Lincoln County. Mason, Wright, Freeman, Colvin, the tight end, Stokes, and Zellers. Torrey Zellers, pretty impressive wide out. Brooks, Smalley, Quarles, Patterson, and Ramsey, the offensive line. It's going to be second down and short, second and about 3. You get a look there. Tweon Sheeler of Commerce on the defense. I formation, they give us to Wright once again, and he stumbles forward to about the 40-yard line. I believe he's going to have a first down. The hit by Eric Moore, the leading tackler for the Tigers.
Well, we'll see Xavier Wright get the call quite a bit today. Coming into the postseason, 121 carries, 824 yards, an average of 7 yards a carry.
They're going to look at the defensive starters for Commerce. Scoggins, Moore, and Cox, the linebackers. Again, Moore, the leading tackler, with well over 100 tackles. Sorrow, Daniel, Carter, and Collins, the secondary for the Tigers. First down and 10, ball right at the 40-yard line for the Red Devils of Lincoln County. Darian Freeman, number 26, in at tailback. Twins to the left. And the give is to Freeman over the left side. He's hit, though, and dropped immediately that time by 52. Jonathan Martin, the senior, and also Eric Moore.
Good job by the seniors to get through the offensive line and get them down for a loss of yards. Again, you'll see a fired-up defensive line early on in the football game, too. Want to get in a good position early on. There you see the handoff, and not a lot of room for him to go, and they get a little bit of help. Jonathan Martin there to make the initial hit, and then some of his teammates come over and help him out, and just kind of make sure that the running back is down and that there would be 0 yards gained.
Freeman with about a yard loss there, brings up second down and long, 2nd and 11. Early on here in the first quarter, and
the catch was nice, but here we see on the replay, he was able to dart away from 2 defenders. There you see both of them, 1 and 6, both go down. That's Chad Scoggins and Lamar Daniels. They were both left in his dust, and therefore he was able to push the ball into Commerce territory with a nice run after the catch.
Red Devils in business. First down at 10. Ball just into Commerce territory at the 48. And they give it straight forward to Wright once again, who drags a couple of Tigers with him. Nice gain there, close to 5 yards or so. Martin and Brown converge on the tackle. Wright's older brother is Sherrard Freeman, who's a starting slot back for Georgia Southern. You're going to look at Chip Wright, 121 rushes for 824 yards on the season, 18 touchdowns.
On that last catch by Stokes, a 21-yard pass reception.
And now it's second down and 5. Mason, the quarterback, looks to throw a quick one to Torrey Zellers, complete. Gain of about a yard or two as the corners played up a little bit that time. Chad Scoggins, the linebacker, also over there to make the hit.
Zellers having a pretty good season for Lincoln County. 35 receptions during the regular season, 594 yards. And here we see, just going to turn, catch the football, and then look right upfield. Saw a lot of black and gold as far as the jerseys go, but was able to pick up a couple of yards.
There's Zellers on the sideline. He was matched up with the linebacker there, so watch Lincoln County perhaps go a little deep. And now we've got a timeout called by Lincoln County as you get a look at Coach Larry Campbell of the Red Devils. This team entering the playoffs at 7-3. Definitely surprising some folks. They beat Calvary Baptist in the quarterfinals 30-22. The Tiger sideline there. The Commerce Tigers, a team, like we said, that of course have been ranked pretty much a top Class A all year long. Weapons on offense and defense, and they have been impressive.
Hey, bring it up what he said. Yeah, bring it in. Hey.
They're going to look at, so listen in to the huddle there. The Tigers, of course, falling behind 14-0 earlier on in this one, giving up 2 defensive scores to Lincoln County. They did get back in the ballgame with a nice drive capped off by a Williams touchdown. But now it's the Lincoln County offense that's on the move.
Well, and we said, too, Lincoln County could also put some points on the board also. 21 points in their game against Callaway, 40 against Dawson, and 30 against Calvary Baptist.
Dave Garner along with Dave Cohen here at the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. This time it's a sweep to Wright, who drives forward, puts his head down. Looked like he was stopped after about 3 yards and actually made about a 6-yard gain out of it or so, and they get the first down. Casey Geary and Mike Collins on the tackle.
He's a big part of their offensive unit, 121 carries in the regular season, almost 900 yards. The interesting thing about him, an average of almost 7 yards a carry, which is why he obviously gets the ball so many times.
That's pretty impressive. 7 yards a carry over the course of an entire season. When you talk about some of the competition that they have endured, that's not bad. Once again, right on the carry. This time, though, only a couple as he pushes to the 30. Jonathan Martin and Eric Moore on the hit there. Eric Moore of Commerce, the leading tackler for the Tigers, and he also is a pretty good offensive lineman as well. He lines up at right guard most of the time, and the senior has definitely been a big part of the Commerce running game, as he has on defense. And now it's second down and about 7. And this time, Mason looking to throw, and it's, nearly intercepted by Carter that time. Oh, man. Daniel Carter right through his hands, and it could have been going the other way.
Well, not only almost intercepted by Carter, but the ball we'll see here in the replay was deflected. And as it flew through the air after the deflection, once again, a black jersey there. There you see it goes off his hands. And it was Lamar Daniels who was just cutting to the right. If he had been cutting to the left, Daniels would have had a pretty good shot at intercepting that ball.
There you look at Daniel Carter, QB/free safety. And now we've got a timeout once again. I believe Lincoln County calling another one there as you get a look at the the paw print there, the tiger print on the head of Daniel Carter. Man, that's an interesting haircut right there.
Mom, Dad, look at my new hairdo.
I wonder if he's had that all year long or if that's just for today. I don't know.
I don't know. It's pretty interesting, though. It's called School Spirit.
But you're a Georgia State Panther. How about a Panther paw?
Yeah, just what my wife would love to see, a blue paw on the top of my head.
Quarterback keeper, curl.
As we listen in on the sideline of the Commerce Tigers getting instruction. We said something earlier about Xavier Wright's older brother being Sherrard Freeman, who is a starting slot back at Georgia Southern, and the Eagles are also a team that are looking for perhaps another shot at a national championship. So his brother's going at it today. Probably a few mixed emotions in that family with the semifinal game going on here.
Georgia Southern against Illinois State today.
You're going to look at the third down comparison here early on. Commerce is 2 of 2. And now Lincoln County, 1 of 2, will have another opportunity at 1 here on 3rd down and 7. And Mason on the option will keep down to the 25-yard line. He's going to be shy by a couple. It's going to bring up 4th down and 2 as Lamar Daniels, the sophomore, came up and turned him in for the stop.
Looked like he was stopped about 1.5 feet, 2 feet from the first down marker. I was waiting for the pitch out to come. I was a little surprised when he kept it himself because he obviously could look upfield and see that he did not have anywhere to go and that he still had about 2 feet for the first down. I thought for sure the ball would come out in the pitch.
So now 4th down and 2, and the Red Devils are going for it. They're not conservative at all. And they'll line everyone up in the backfield. Toss sweep right. 25. He's got the first down. 20. 15 and more inside the 10-yard line as Daniel Carter made the tackle. Otherwise, it could have been 6 points for Lincoln County.
So Xavier Wright with the football just cuts out to the right side of the field, drags one tackler with him. We'll see him take it from Mason, looking upfield, sees he's got some room up the right side of the field, breaks away from one tackler, gets hit at about the 10-yard line, and the momentum carries him a little bit forward. Look at the speed as he comes around the corner here, breaks away from number 34 for Commerce. That's Nicholas Cox, and then is finally brought down on the tackle by Daniel Carter, the quarterback.
First down and goal. Full house handoff. Right, left side, inside the 5 as he gets down to the 2-yard line. Daniel Carter once again on the tackle. I'm impressed with the way Wright is not only kind of a finesse runner, but he's got some power, too. I haven't seen him go backwards very much on any guy that's tackled him. He's pretty much running over folks.
Well, you're right. There you see 9 rushes, 56 yards so far in the game this afternoon. Not so much on this play. The play prior, though, when he dragged the tackler with him, you'll see he'll crash right into Cox right there. The legs are still going. They finally take 2 more jerseys. 2 more Commerce defenders have to come over to finally get him down.
Second down and goal for the Red Devils. Already leading 14-7, trying to add to that. Mason, the quarterback, will give it to Wright over the top into the end zone for the touchdown. Xavier Wright once again.
Little reminiscent of Lamar Williams yesterday when he got high in the air and went over the defensive line for the touchdown. And there you see it again in a game this afternoon by Xavier Wright.
Like you said yesterday, it's been a good photo shoot for somebody to be down there to get him going up over the top there because he got some air under him.
Well, you know that famous picture by you-know-who, I think he came out of Wrightsville, Georgia.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
I've seen a couple of nice photos of him when he would just leap and dive over the defensive line.
Yeah, he definitely made that a signature for all aspiring running backs. And Andrew Smalley adds the extra point. So all of a sudden, Lincoln County in control. Commerce looks like they're getting back into the football game, but it's the Red Devils' turn on offense. They drive down the field and answer and keep it a 14-point game.
Well, we'll see what Commerce does when they get the football here in this next possession. They were very one-dimensional coming down, and right now a 21-7 football game. They're down by 14.
That's the end of the first quarter. 21-7, Lincoln County on top. We'll be back after this.
You're watching member-supported GPTV, your PBS station, serving Atlanta and all of Georgia.
If you can dream it, you can do it.
Join GPTV as we introduce you to some extraordinarily talented people.
Georgians who are living out their dreams.
It's a time of celebration.
Into the many intriguing facets of art.
Georgia Arts Celebration on GPTV.
Monday at 9 on GPTV. You're watching Georgia Public Television, part of the Georgia Public Broadcasting family of services, including GPTV, Peach State Public Radio, and Peach Star Education Services. Georgia Public Broadcasting, a resource for Georgia's future.
Do you take sugar gas, guys?
Oh, yes, please. It's a really nice stove. You know, natural gas is an amazing thing. You just turn that knob and out comes the gas.
Uh-huh.
A reliable gas company is essential, Ashley. Anything less would jeopardize your reputation as a hostess. Your guests would think faux pas. They wouldn't say it, but they'd think it.
If Georgia Natural Gas is your choice, mention GPTV and we'll donate $10 to Georgia Public Television. Georgia Natural Gas, a sister company of Atlanta Gaslight.
Hello, I'm Michael Evans. On behalf of your Burger King franchisees across Georgia, I'd like to congratulate the student athletes involved with these championships. Burger King is proud of our partnership with GPTV and our commitment to providing over 6 million tickets to the GHSA and 295 of its member schools.
You're watching member-supported GPTV, your PBS station, serving Atlanta and all of Georgia. GPTV, bringing you the best.
Second quarter here at the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. Lincoln County on top 21-7. As you get a look at the score, that's the Commerce Tigers in the black and gold on offense. Michael Collins on the kickoff return, so it's first down and 10 from the 24, and Carter's looking to throw, and now he's being pressured. Still on his feet, though, scrambling, looking long. Couple of men down there, the fight for the football, and it's knocked away that time by the secondary. I believe that was Dominique Mason, one of the guys back there getting his hand on it, looking for Collins and Epps.
I was going to say, it looked a little bit like Carter got away from what it was that he originally wanted to do. Here's the last touchdown that we saw, and there you see the height that Wright gets. We see another angle. He's going to go right over the top. I think that was Nicholas Cox there again, 34, that caught him by the legs, but by that point it was too late. The forward motion just carried him right over the top of the pile into the end zone.
Yeah, number 8, Antonio Norman, also throwing a nice lead block there, too, to pave the way. Second down and 10 after the incompletion. Carter once again with that power I will option out to Williams. Across the 25, and he's got the 30-yard line after Shanks brought him down.
Awfully lucky on that first play from scrimmage when Carter threw long across the field. He wasn't necessarily double coverage. There's you see the scoring drive for Lincoln County. 10 plays, covered 72 yards. They finish it off with Wright's 2-yard touchdown run. Also had a big fourth down conversion to set up the touchdown.
Nearly 5 minutes off the clock as well. Nice long drive there. Ate up the rest of the first quarter. And we're early on here in the second. 11 minutes remaining in the half. Once again, the power I. This time the pitch to Williams around the outside. He's got room at the 40. Cuts it back in 45, midfield, and more to the Commerce 47-yard line. Monte Williams once again.
Even to the opposing team's running back to have to bring down the Commerce back. Williams, as you see again, we've talked about his breakaway speed numerous times. He takes the pitch. Look at how many times he zigs and zags. Gets it all the way over to the edge of the side of the field, and he cuts back towards the middle of the field. Finally able to bring him down. He's got 12 carries, 92 yards so far this afternoon, and got the one touchdown, 12 rushes this afternoon, and he is Commerce's offense so far today.
A nice cut back there, too, by the sideline. Stayed in bounds. This time the give is straightforward to the fullback. That is Sheeler. Quyon Sheeler. Carried the ball 52 times this year. Has a couple of touchdowns. Doesn't get a lot of the work. He's mainly the workhorse, I guess, the guy that paves the way for Williams, but he does have an occasional carry or two.
Coach Savage trying to mix it up just a little bit. Seems like every play has been the pitch to Monte Williams, and he's getting it done. Just trying to mix things up just a little bit. Throw the Lincoln County Red Devil defense off just a little.
Lee Sorrow wide to the left this time. Now they will go with a single back, and it's an option to Williams. The 45, he's got some real estate in front of him. 30, 25, 20. Off to the races to the 10 and down at the 5-yard line, brought down by Rick Stokes. Otherwise, it would have been a touchdown. Jeffrey Parks also over there as well, and Williams with another big run.
Picks up 40 yards, gets it all the way down to the 5-yard line, and Commerce now knocking on the door. We've said it time and time again. There you see the pitch at midfield. Going to cut straight back upfield, cuts back towards the middle. As he picks up 40 yards, the Red Devils able to get back down. Their two guys able to combine their speed and bring him down. And he is driving the Commerce offense so far this afternoon as he's got him knocking on the door again.
First down and goal for the Tigers. And Carter this time on the keeper will punch forward. He hangs onto that football with two hands, as I'm sure he was instructed to do by his coach. And there you get a look at Carter, who looks like he's grimacing a little bit under the bottom of the pile. May have landed a little awkward.
See how he is when he gets up. Trying to shake it off just a little bit. Two coaches pondering what to do with the football down where it is right now, and it's spotted at the 3-yard line.
If you look at the rushing yards, Commerce winning the battle here with 145-59 over Lincoln County.
Most of those 145 are to Williams.
This time Carter on the option, a late pitch once again, but Williams gets into the end zone, and he's got another touchdown. Monte Williams into the end zone, and just like that, Commerce comes back, cuts the lead in half once again. With an extra point, they will, anyway.
Well, you're right. The little duo, the quarterback Carter and Monte Williams, going to keep them in this football game. You go back and take away the 2 early turnovers, Commerce might be dominating the game at this point.
Now they will try to add that extra point. Daniel Carter, the quarterback, will try to do that. Something I've noticed about Monte Williams, he doesn't wear any arm pads, and normally on this turf, that's something you want to do, but he's a tough kid, I guess, as well. He's got scraped up elbows there. Uh-oh. Penalty flag there prior to the snap. I believe they're going to call this one on the Red Devils, so the extra point attempt may be a little shorter.
Have a dead ball foul, encroachment on the defense, half the distance to the goal, retry.
That puts them, what, 1.5 yards out?
Exactly. I want to think about, too, with the way Williams has been running the football of late. Carter will try to add the extra point. And the kick is up, and the kick is good. So with 8 minutes and 48 seconds remaining here in the second quarter, it's now a 21-14 ball game. And Commerce is right back in it.
Well, behind the play of Monte Williams, the 5'7", 165-pounder. We'll see a replay on the touchdown. And it's going to be a quick pitch once they get to Carter. He's able to hold on. 3-yard touchdown run. Really nobody there to try to keep him from getting into the end zone. And again, with that speed that he has, it was going to be awfully tough once they spread the field, spread the defense like that for somebody to get over.
That was another dangerous pitch, too, there you saw, because he did throw it a little bit late. It looked like he was going to do it, kind of hesitated. He actually had a man on him when he was getting rid of that football. You're going to look at the scoring drive, 6 plays, 66 yards. Williams capping it off with a 3-yard run, eating up a little over 3 minutes of the clock. And Commerce battling back, and now it seems like neither offense can be stopped here, as Carter will kick off to a Red Devil offense that's been equally as potent.
Equally as potent and very fortunate with the 2 turnovers early on to account for their first 2 touchdowns of the afternoon.
Here you're going to look at Rick Stokes back deep along with Torrey Zellers, standing at the 10-yard line. And Daniel Carter will kick it off. Gets his foot into this one. Ooh, a lot deeper kick. All the way down to the goal line. That's Zellers on the return. Gets back to the middle of the field and to the 17-yard line. So it doesn't quite get back to the 20. I believe they had a return set to the other side of the field, so he had some ground to cover. Justin Martin making the tackle. Monte Williams, 137 total rushing yards here in the first half. 83 yards total for Lincoln County.
Well, that therein shows you the difference in how these two teams approach their offensive units.
Yeah, they're still trailing, too, despite the yardage.
Again, you got to take into account the turnovers.
Yep. Now Dominique Mason will hand to Wright across the 20. 25, breaks outside 30 and up to the 35-yard line. So a gain of about 17 on the first play from scrimmage, as Michael Collins, the junior, had to bring him down. Again, Wright's having a big ball game as well.
He is, but doesn't receive or has not received as much publicity. There you see some good movement on the line right there. They do a good job opening up the hole. Wright able to find it, sneak right through, and finally it was Collins, the last guy manning the ship, that was able to wrap him up and bring him down.
First down and 10 from the 35-yard line. This time, Lincoln County will split 3 to the left and 1 to the right. But the give is straightforward to Wright once again. 40 and 45-yard line. He's close to another first down. I believe he got it.
I believe you're right, Dave.
Lamar Daniels and Twian Sheeler making the tackle there. And that's a case, I guess, of just trying to spread the defense a little bit to open up some bigger holes inside.
The difference in the two running backs, the reason why everybody is so excited about Williams is because of the speed. But again, as we talked about, don't overlook the play of Xavier Wright, because this kid got a lot of speed in those legs, got a lot of power in those legs, and that was a good example of at that time as he was able to bust across and pick up the first down.
This time a two-back set, and they will hand it off to Stokes, who's looking for a hole but won't find one, and Michael Collins comes in there and cleans some house right around the 45. No gain on the play. Collins is one of those guys that's pretty much a do-it-all guy. Of course, a return man, plays offense, defense, and on offense splits time between receiver and quarterback. Haven't seen him yet there today.
Xavier Wright, Dave, right behind Williams as far as the yardage go. 12 carries, 86 yards.
There you get a look at Michael Collins. 5 interceptions on the season. So he's definitely a threat back there in the secondary. And this time, Lincoln County goes trips right. But they will option it off. That's Freeman, number 26 on the carry. He's got room across midfield and more down to the 42-yard line. What a run that time by Freeman. Lee Sorrow had to trip him up in the secondary, but not before a big gain and a first down for the Red Devils.
Well, not one-dimensional at all, this Lincoln County Red Devil offensive unit when giving the football and running the football, as Freeman makes a nice run right here and picks up another first down and moves them into Commerce territory, and actually came awfully close to breaking that one himself down the right side of the field.
If you look at the clock, 7:02 in the contest. Coach Steve Savage of the Commerce Tigers looking on. Neither defense really able to stop the opposing offense today. And now we've got a timeout called by Lincoln County. I believe that's their last one of the half. They've used them all. And Coach Campbell wants to talk things over with his offense. Coach Campbell, of course, talking it over with his kids, and he's very proud of them, making it this far once again to the Georgia Dome.
Probably, this is my 30th year, and I've had some good football teams through the years, but this group here has been unique in the standpoint that we don't have that one great football player. It's been a different player each week, and I think the character of our team has gotten better throughout the season. We lost the opening game of the season. We got beat in the middle of the season, and we lost our last game of the regular season. And then we just kind of seemed to jail, and everybody's given everything they got. We just feel very fortunate to be here.
Coach Larry Campbell of the Lincoln County Red Devils. His team 10-3 overall coming into the playoffs. State champions back in 1995 and looking to make it there once again. Again, the winner of this contest hosts Charlton County. First down and 10. Trips to the right this time for the Red Devils, but they will hand forward to right, but Commerce all over at that time. No one was fooled up front. A couple of black and gold jerseys in on that tackle. Jonathan Martin and Tyson Brown in the middle making the stop.
Well, seemingly they've had more success, Dave, as they've run the ball either the right or the left side. It's been pretty thin pickings for both of these teams as when they've tried to run it right up the middle.
Under 6.5 remaining here in the first half from the Georgia Dome. In the second of 2 Class A state semifinals, and now Mason looking to throw, does so deep in the flat. He has Stokes complete at the 25-yard line, and Stokes will stretch to about the 23.5. Lamar Daniels hanging on by the ankles, making the hit.
Nice little dive after the catch. A beautiful throw there by the quarterback, Mason. He fired a bullet right into the numbers. This was a beautiful spiral. He just steps back, takes a couple of steps, fires it, looks right, and hits Mason. And Mason with a nice little dive there to pick up the extra yardage.
Here you see it again from another angle. Good strong throw, like you said.
That ball had some zip on it.
It sure did. Stokes, 30 receptions this year for over 600 yards. And now Mason on the option. Oh, he keeps and is hit hard that time by number 46, Sheeler, the junior. And I tell you what, Brown also in that hit. Mason may have done better to get rid of that football, but he couldn't have seen that hit coming, I guess.
A little bit of indecision because right to his right, he had Xavier Wright. And the defense able to penetrate through the offensive line, and that left him really with nowhere to go. He took the hit and went down, did a good job holding on to the football.
So that'll bring up second down and about 7. Ball on the 21. Mason this time with an eye backfield, twins to the right. Zellers and Stokes out there. And this time the option goes outside to Freeman, who turns the corner, but only for about 3 yards or so before Casey Gary and Eric Moore converge on the tackle. Gary and Freeman with a couple carries today.
Once again, the defensive unit, they spy right in. They see exactly where the pitch goes, and all the black jerseys just move kind of in a wave and a little bit of a wall to the right side. And they bring him down. Picked up a couple of yards, but not a lot. Brings up third down.
Twins to the left this time. Third down and about 4. And this time Mason with the quick hitter to Zellers. At the 15, he has the first down inside the 10, still on his feet, driving down to the 2. And what a run, catch and run that time by Torrey Zellers, the senior. Eric Moore had to bring him down.
Did a good job after catching the football, getting away from some of the Commerce defenders. I thought they would have had him back around the 10-yard line. Watch after he catches the football. Spins, well, the catching the ball forced him to spin. And then he breaks through a couple of black jerseys right there and finally brought down right at the 1 or the 2-yard line. They spotted on the 1. Nice spin, gives him a little bit of momentum down to the 15. Gets it to the 10, got away from Cox, and finally it was a diving Eric Moore.
This time right on the carry, trying to get in the end zone, but the Tiger defense sniffs that one out. Eric Moore once again on the tackle. I tell you what, we've called his name all game long. He is the leading tackler for the Tigers, and showing why here today as he keeps right out of the end zone for now.
Well, it's very much a senior offensive line led by Moore and Russ Brown. Great pursuit on this last play, and they just hone right in on him, and a nice hit there by Moore to bring him down and keep him out of the end zone. They spot the ball right now at the 1.
So it will be second down and goal for the Lincoln County Red Devils, who will try to put it back to a 2-touchdown lead. Full house this time. The hand to right over the middle. I believe he was stopped. That time he tried to go over the top like he did down on the other end, but Eric Moore again coming over there, the senior, getting him around the legs and dragging him backward.
I think he started the leap a little bit too early, and also credit the defensive unit for stopping him. There you see 71 getting through once again. The line not able to push it forward just enough, and a lot of black jerseys right there, and nice tackle there made by number 71, again the senior Eric Moore.
Yeah, the defensive line got a good surge there, got low, and that allowed those linebackers to get up over the top and meet right. And now it's third down and goal all of a sudden. Mason tries to sneak it in. He's going to be close, but I believe he fell in there, and he did. Dominique Mason on third and goal, and the Lincoln County Red Devils finally get the touchdown.
Well, they got the surge from the offensive line that time that they needed, and the forward momentum, and basically you saw Mason just kind of leaning on his center and the 2 guards, and they just basically just pushed it. They had enough strength, and they just pushed him forward. He just kind of collapsed into the end zone.
So Mason today with an offensive and defensive touchdown. And now Andrew Smalley will try to boot the extra point through. 2:39 remaining here in the half. And the extra point attempt by Smalley is up, and it's in there. So 28-14 our score now with 2:39 remaining in the half. And again, both teams' offenses have been very impressive here in the early going as you get a look at Dominique Mason over on the bench.
There you see another second effort performance there by Mason. As he kind of hit a little bit of a wall right there, we get another angle from the end zone. And basically the second effort, a lot of credit got to go to the offensive lineman and Mason pushing it forward, not to be denied. And as you said, Dave, as we get a quick look at Mason on the bench, touchdown for both sides today, from the defensive side and the offensive side.
Yeah, Marcus Ramsey, the senior tackle, was actually the guy underneath the bottom of the pile that moved 2 or 3 Commerce guys out of there and allowed the late surge there by Mason. Look at Coach Campbell over there on the sideline, pacing. His team back on top, 28-14.
Nice sustained drive there by the Red Devils, culminating in the 7 points.
Trellis Glaze will boot it away, and once again it's Collins and Williams back deep. And this time it's a low liner that goes off the side of the foot of Latrellis Glaze, and it will go out.
About
And
the
this one
32,
will,
I think.
yeah. That'll come out to at least the 35, I guess. To look at the scoring drive, 9 plays, 83 yards, 6:08 off the clock. Mason capping off with that 1-yard quarterback sneak. That's his second touchdown, of course, of the afternoon as he trots back on the field for defensive purposes. And I tell you what, that was just an overall great drive. 83 yards, that's a heck of a drive right there.
Well, it also speaks volumes about ball control.
We have
One
an
thing
illegal
that you hear
procedure.
people
Ball
talk a lot
kicked out of
about
bounds.
with winning football teams is ball control.
Receiving
And
team
if you've got the
chooses to take the
football
ball
and
on
you're
the
able to
35.
score, more often than not, you're going to win. If your defensive unit's spending a lot of time out there, that means you're in trouble. It means your offensive unit's not able to move the ball as well.
And now it's the Commerce Tigers who are trying to answer from the 35-yard line after that kick went out of bounds. And Carter will pitch it out to Williams, who cuts it back inside and falls forward to the 40-yard line. Freeman tripped him for Lincoln County. Otherwise, Williams may have had a couple of more yards there, but still a nice gain of about 5 yards on first down.
Well, Commerce is going to go with what's worked for them so far. They find themselves down again by 2 touchdowns, 28-14. Got about 2 minutes to go here in the second quarter. You know, if nothing else, they want to try to get another 7 on the scoreboard heading into the locker room. And Monte Williams has been the go-to guy, and I see no reason to believe that he won't be here. We got a timeout called, it looks like.
Yeah, it looked like we had an official's timeout there. Monte Williams had to trot off for an equipment problem or something, and Commerce went ahead and called the timeout. Their 2nd down and 5 will be the situation. If you look at Daniel Carter down there on the sideline with the Commerce Tiger paw print.
Love that hairdo.
I'll tell you what, that is something else right there. He's got a career in professional wrestling one day. He wants that. Coach Savage very proud of his guys. Likewise, let's go ahead and see what he has to say about his team.
Oh, we're tremendously proud of this football team, and our town, our communities are proud of them. Since they've been there, they've only lost 3 regular season games in their career, this bunch of seniors, and you know, we were mighty proud of them and proud to be playing this ball.
Coach Steve Savage, 22 years as a coach, 11 years head coach at Commerce High School. He's a graduate, of course, of Maryville College, like we said earlier, in Tennessee. Larry Campbell, Lincoln County Red Devils coach, attended UGA. Over 50 years of coaching experience between the two. 2nd down and 5 for the Tigers after a timeout. And Carter on the pitch to Williams across the 40, 45, and tripped up right around the 48-yard line. Another nice run there and a 1st down for Monte Williams.
Well, as we've said time and time again, he's the go-to guy. They've got plenty of time. They want to get another 6 on the scoreboard before halftime if they can. And you'll see again, you talk about speed. The pitch to Williams finds the hole quick, going to dart back to his left, straight up the middle. And it finally runs into 2 Red Devil defenders before they bring him down. Looks like we have an injured Red Devil on the field as we speak.
That's Dominique Mason, who you saw on the tail end of that play trying to come up and make the stop. That's 2nd time today we've seen Mason down on the turf. You can look at Coach Campbell coming out to check on him.
You want to talk about the Monte Williams watch. 17 carries so far this afternoon, 150 yards and a couple of touchdowns.
Wow. Impressive day, needless to say, so far for him. Still another half of football left to play, too. 2:04, of course, remaining in the half here as they still attend to Dominique Mason. And again, this would be a big blow here if something is wrong with him. Obviously, he's the field general on offense and also plays a big part in the secondary as well, and he's still down there. Of course, this is the 2nd of 2 Class A state semifinals, and last night we saw some great ball games, and really none of them went the way that anyone thought they would. Lowndes, of course, coming back after being down to Northside by so much, and Mount Zion and Marist also with a low-scoring game. Let's go ahead and throw it back to the studio while they attend to Dominique Mason. Let's go ahead and throw it over to Jim.
All right, thanks, Dave. Coach, a high-scoring affair, and boy, I tell you what, if they lose Mason, that could hurt the Red Devils.
it's definitely bad to see that because he's played such a wonderful game at quarterback and at defensive back, but Commerce has got to stop Lincoln County twice.
Right.
You know, before they're going to get back in this game.
Right.
But there's no quit in Commerce or Lincoln County. It's going to be a great finish to this game.
All right, great.
Here you get a look at the backup quarterback, Andrew Smalley, number 7, who also handles the kicking duties as well. And there you see him taking a few warm-up snaps over on the sideline. Anthony Wright has replaced Mason defensively in the secondary as the pitch goes to Williams once again. But not much there, maybe a yard or so to bring up 2nd down and 9 as Latrellis Glaze, number 42 there. Takes up pretty much most of the screen. He makes the hit.
He did a good job getting through the line. We see the replay. They know that 9 times out of 10 the pitch is going to come to Williams. Glaze just hones right in, gets him at midsection body-wise, and just hauls him down.
So now it's 2nd down and 9 from the 49. And this time Carter looking to throw, does so deep in the flat. Oh, knocked away, intended for Michael Collins, but knocked away nicely by Stokes, who really read the play that time and made a nice break on the ball.
Well, he did too, and he did it in such a way to avoid the yellow flag. You know, we saw a lot of yellow flags yesterday. It's been the exact opposite today.
Let's throw it down to our sideline man, David Evans.
Down here on the sidelines, Dominique Mason, quarterback for Lincoln County, hurt his shin. They're icing it up. Talked to the coaches on the sideline. They expect him to return in the game.
All right, there you have it. The word on Dominique Mason. Banged up a little bit, but hopefully will return. This time Carter on the option, gets it out there to Williams. Another dangerous pitch, but across the 40 and down to the 36-yard line goes Monte Williams as he continues to eat up the yardage. Jeffrey Parks brought him down. And now Commerce, I believe, signaling for a timeout with just 1:05 remaining in the first half. Here you get a look at it once again. Carter, another late pitch there, and Williams had to reach behind him.
Luckily they didn't fumble that one, and he's able to get it a little bit deeper into Red Devil territory. Again, you'll see the pitch again. Has to reach behind just a little bit. He's able to grasp the football and go from the right side to the left side. And then finally the Red Devils able to bring him down. There you see they work on Dominique Mason.
Yeah, it's a little tender over there. You can see him grimacing over there on the sideline. The Tigers with just 1 timeout remaining here in the half. Let's listen in. You heard Coach Savage say, you know, let's throw it out of bounds or do something if that clock starts winding down. They do have 1 left. The ball is going to be marked at the 36-yard line. This would be a big lift for the Tigers if they could get in 1 more before the half and make it a 7-point ball game.
I'm guessing they might try to mix it up here a little bit. We've seen a lot of action, obviously, from Monte Williams. They've got Michael Collins, though, wide right. And the fact that they've got 36 yards to go, they might try to throw it here.
They go back to that power I, and they hand off to Williams up the middle that time, so
guess not.
Reggie Kreitz in on the stop. Only a yard or 2, that's all.
And it keeps the clock running.
Commerce going no huddle as the clock continues to roll. 44 seconds. This time they have a slot back, and now Carter looking to throw. Will do so as he puts it up down the sideline. He's got a man, and it's Williams. Touchdown. Monte Williams getting it done on the pass reception. He was covered that time by Wright, but just out of his grasp. And what a throw that time by Daniel Carter.
Well, they threw one down later than I thought they would, but it was just too many yards to go with the clock running and not enough time, and you knew they were going to have to go to the air, whether it be Williams or Collins or one other of Carter's favorite receivers. And that time, again, we've talked about speed again and again. This time it was speed on the, as far as the air goes, and Williams able to use that speed, break down the right side of the field, get behind the defender, and make the reception.
So Carter now can make it a 7-point ball game with an extra point. And does so. And when you consider them being down in a whole 14-0 early on, that's a great testament to the way Coach Savage and the Tigers have battled back in this one. 28-21, a heck of a ball game here in the Class A state semifinal from the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. And there you get a look at Monte Williams, who has been the big play man for the Tigers here in the first half. Nice pass reception there and a nice throw from Carter as we get a look at it once again.
Carter rears back, lets the ball fly. There you see a nicely thrown football, nice spiral. Got it just over the outstretched arm of the defender, and it was actually deflected by number 2, Xavier Wright, getting some time at the cornerback free safety position. And through the screen, Wright able to, or actually Williams able to catch the football and hold on and just step in the corner of the end zone for another big touchdown. Smallest guy in the field, but the biggest impact.
There you go. Catching it just inside the pylon down there in the corner as he juggled it. Good concentration, too, because like you said, that ball was tipped by Wright. He kind of caught it right at on his face mask there pretty much as you get a look at some of those crazy Tiger fans that have traveled to the Georgia Dome today.
Well, the touchdown gets them back in the game, trailing at 28-21.
They're going to look at the drive. 5 plays, 65 yards, a little over a minute. Williams capping it off with a 34-yard touchdown reception, 65 yards. That's a drive Williams had. And now the kickoff. We've got a whistle down. Somebody may have went across a little too early. Just 34 ticks remaining on the clock here in the first half.
I think they'll reset and kick it again.
Yeah, looks like they're going to back him up 5 yards to the 35-yard line.
We have a dead ball foul, encroachment by the defense. Penalties accepted, 5 yards, and re-kick.
Well, the half's still not over with yet as you get a look at big Eric Moore over on the sideline, the leading tackle for the Commerce Tigers. He has been huge on defense today, and Dominique Mason favoring that right ankle. A little banged up, and hopefully for the Red Devils, he will return today. Stokes and Zellers back deep for Lincoln County, and it's a short squibber. That'll come down at the 35-yard line. And they will just fall to a knee there. Casey Colvin of Lincoln County getting it down. So the Red Devils still with another player or two, perhaps. Not bad field position. A couple big plays in their right and scoring position.
No, and he wisely just catches the football and goes down, not wanting to try to return it, not wanting to risk a turnover at this late juncture of the half. And you know they want to head into that locker room with at least the 1 touchdown advantage.
Andrew Smalley in at quarterback, replacing Mason, who's on the sideline. Smalley 627 yards this year passing, so he can throw it. That's what he's going to do on play number 1. Oh, it gets it knocked away. Ball is loose on the ground, but I believe they Red Devils came up with it.
Xavier Wright right there to pick it up. Did we not just talk about the risk of a turnover in the final 30 seconds of this football game? And sure enough, they try to go deep, and the ball deflected out of his hands as he rears back to throw.
That's Sheeler there on the hit that stripped it away.
Andrew Smalley getting a nice introduction to the playoff game, and look what he does that time. Let's just take the ball and let's down it. Let's get into the locker room with a 7-point advantage.
Well, a big first half full of excitement here from the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. Larry Campbell, head coach of the Lincoln County Red Devils, his team up by 7, 28-21, coming up at halftime again. Marching bands from Commerce High School and Lincoln County High School. There you're going to look at the score. Red Devils 28-21 here at the break. Again, a big first half, like we said, of big plays. Commerce getting in that score right before the half. That helps their momentum out a little bit. Let's throw it down to the field with David Evans, who's standing by with the coach.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. Coach, 28 points on the board here after the first half. Got to be happy with that number.
Well, we're pleased. We hate we give up about right before the half. We really need to go in by more than that because, you know, with number 7 out there, they can score so quick. Our biggest concern right now is I injured our quarterback. He's also our free safety, and if he's out, we're in trouble.
And he said, is it a leg or an ankle, a shin?
We think it's his knee.
It's his knee.
Yes.
All right, Coach, best of luck in second half. Back to you guys upstairs.
So there you have it. Mason's return questionable for Lincoln County as they continue to work on him. We'll take a timeout and be right back with halftime festivities after this.
You're watching member-supported GPTV.
You're watching the Georgia High School Association Football Championships on GPTV.
Welcome back to the Georgia Dome. It's halftime. Lincoln County ahead of Commerce 28-21. Halftime festivities are underway with the Lincoln County Marching Band.
Ready? Okay. Down here on the sidelines, we've got Ivy Bennett here. Talk a little about the preparation that went today and putting together this performance.
They've been working really hard. We had girls out until 5:30 last night, and they asked to be back at 6:30 this morning to go over their routine and make sure they get it right. This is a big deal to be in the Dome, and they were really excited. We're all excited. We're really proud of our kids. They've stepped up and done what's been asked of them, and couldn't ask for any more out of them. And we have a great band director. It's her first year here, and the kids really have taken to her, and we are looking forward to even greater things.
Now, you said you guys only had like a couple weeks to really put together this routine, and talk about all that hard work, you know, not just yesterday, but over the past couple weeks to put together a performance like this.
Well, we had major personnel changes close to the end of the football season, and we had to ask children who don't normally do percussion or auxiliary to step up and do it. And we put this show together in just 2 weeks, less than 10 days actually. And they have worked their hearts out to get this show together and to do their best. And they're proud to be here.
Talk a little about the support they get from their parents, their family, and the school, and you know, rallying around this group.
Well, I'm a mom of 3 girls out there, and we all love our kids, and we all support them. We work in that concession stand on home games, and we do everything we can to make sure that they have what they need. And the school has been wonderful to us. We just had our Christmas concert band on Wednesday night, and we had a really good turnout, and our schools was there, and they really enjoyed it, as were our assistant principals, and everyone was commenting about what a great job Ms. Nysham and our young people are doing.
Well, great. Thank you so much, and best of luck the rest of the way. All right, let's go back upstairs to Jim.
All right, Dave, you know, it's hard to believe that she's the mom of 3 people on the field. You got to hand it to the band, though. I mean, football teams need the support like the bands, the cheerleaders, the fans, and so on and so forth.
You know, in the state of Georgia, football is so big. It includes so many different things, and
Right.
The bands are a big part of it. Big part of it.
Absolutely, no matter what the size.
Right, right. And they're doing a good job.
They sure are. All right, we've heard from the Lincoln County Marching Band. Coming up, the Commerce Marching Band. When we return to the Georgia Dome, it's halftime. 28-21, Red Devils over the Tigers.
You're watching member-supported GPTV, your PBS station, serving Atlanta and all of Georgia.
Don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing.
She was the queen of swing.
The best singer there is, Jack.
Amongst all of us who sang, she was the best there ever was.
Ella Fitzgerald.
Singing was her life, and nobody did it better. Ella Fitzgerald. Treat yourself to the story of a real American master. Wednesday at 8 on GPTV.
If you can dream it, you can do it.
Join GPTV as we introduce you to some extraordinarily talented people.
Georgians who are living out their dreams.
It's a time of celebration.
Into the many intriguing facets of art.
Georgia Arts Celebration on GPTV.
Monday at 9 on GPTV.
Hello, I'm Bill Lingenfelter, president of South Trust Bank. We at South Trust are very pleased to be a partner with Georgia Public Television and the Georgia High School Association making these broadcasts possible. On behalf of all South Trust employees across the state, I want to recognize and salute the community, schools, and student athletes involved in these championships. They have demonstrated the value of sacrifice, dedication, and teamwork in achieving their common goal. They are an inspiration to all of us. Thank you and enjoy the game.
Each week, millions of Georgians depend on Georgia Public Broadcasting for in-depth news coverage, enriching entertainment, and effective classroom support. Using current and emerging technology, Georgia Public Broadcasting delivers outstanding programs that promote learning in our classrooms, in your home, at the work site, and even in your car. Georgia Public Broadcasting, a wonderful resource for Georgia's future, today, tomorrow, and through the new millennium.
You're watching the Georgia High School Association Football Championships on GPTV.
Welcome back to the Georgia Dome. The halftime festivities continue with the Commerce High Marching Band.
Down here on the field with the band director of the Commerce High School Band. Talk about what it means for the kids to be able to have their performance put on GPTV today and broadcast throughout the state.
Well, this is a chance of a lifetime for a little old school like us. We got less than 300 students, and for to be able to come into a big place like this, a big game, and be on television, it's a chance of a lifetime. They'll remember it forever.
Like, how many hours of preparation went into putting together this routine today? I mean, you know, the hard work that they put in, much like the team puts in preparing for their game.
Well, we start in late July, early August. I counted up one time that our seniors have put in 9,000 hours of work by the time they get to this stage of the game. So that's a lot of time.
So 9,000 hours to get to this moment. This is your guys' Super Bowl, so to say.
That's exactly right.
All right, great. Thanks a lot. Great performance out there. Let's send it back upstairs to Jim.
Let us start, and then you tell.
All right, thanks, David. And a great halftime show put on by both the bands from Commerce and Lincoln County. And you want to talk about a performance. If you like high-scoring games, we had quite a first half for the fans at home.
Commerce dug himself a hole. And if there's a team in the state offensive that can get out of it, Commerce is the team. Mr. Williams has put on a show.
Yes, he has. Monte. And
I know, because we had to play against them last year in an overtime game, so I know Commerce is used to this, and they've been through this scenario. So.
And they're certainly not out of this one.
No, they're not. They're not. Lincoln County's got to be concerned with their quarterback, Mason, and we hope he's okay. But if he's not, that's going to be a big blow.
Okay. Well, we have first half highlights. Here they are, 49 points scored. And here's play number one. Daniel Carter on the keeper. Fumbles the ball, and Ricky Stokes is Johnny on the spot. Maybe I should say Ricky on the spot, Coach.
It's a great play. That's the way to, heads-up play, pick the ball up. He's one of the better athletes. It was a touchdown for sure when he got his hands on it.
And they're, needless to say, very happy. Now Carter with the pitch to Monte Williams, and whoops. Look what I lost. Williams loses the ball. Dominique Mason with the pickup and the return.
Mason does it on both sides.
Lincoln County up 14-0. Here comes Commerce. Monte Williams with the score. He carried the ball 6 times on that drive. A 6-yard touchdown run makes it 14-7 Lincoln County. Now, the last play of the first quarter, chipped right over the top as he goes airborne, and it's 21-7 Lincoln County.
Coach Savage simplified his offense and just decided to toss the ball to Monte, and it kind of got him going again, got him on track offensively.
All right, now the second quarter action, and Monte Williams off the toss pitch. Boy, I tell you, this guy can run the ball, can he?
Got great acceleration, and power, too, for a young man that size.
And then he finally takes it in off the pitch, and it's 21-14 at this point in favor of Lincoln County.
Both teams are utilizing that speed option play.
And Commerce comes right back. Carter to Monte Williams, a 34-yard touchdown pass, and it's 28-21. Williams, it's his 3rd touchdown of the day.
That came, I tell you, that was a surprising play, but utilizing Williams, that's what you got to do.
And there you see it, the winner of this game, Lincoln County Commerce, takes on Charlton County next weekend in the Class A finale. And that should be a real good one, Coach, no matter which way we go. Now, first half stats are coming your way. 49 points. You imagine the numbers are pretty impressive. Here they are, the first half stats, and they are indeed. Look at the total yards already.
Both teams have been rushing the ball very well. Of course, Monte has had a great day rushing the ball. Both teams can throw the ball, but you think Lincoln County this year is a little bit more used to throwing the ball. I think Commerce will throw it if they have to.
All right, Commerce, Lincoln County, the second half is coming your way. After these messages and a word from GPTV, Dave Garner, Dave Cohen will have the call for you.
You're watching member-supported GPTV, your PBS station, serving Atlanta and all of Georgia.
Funding for the broadcast of the Georgia High School Association Championships is provided by
integrity, innovation, accountability, community commitment. We are your Touchstone Energy Cooperatives of Georgia, proud sponsor of high school sports on GPTV and the Georgia High School Association.
South Trust Bank. With over 120 locations in Georgia, South Trust offers a wide variety of financial services for all of your banking needs. At South Trust, You're not just another customer, and we're not just another bank.
Did you know that the International Space Station will require 45 launches? 36 from the United States and 9 from Russia? Man's attempt to create a permanent outpost in space is a reality. New and large components will be sent up to join the growing space station. Get a behind-the-scenes look at the astronauts and the controllers on the ground as they deal with the changing dynamics of this mammoth undertaking. Space Station, the journey begins. Tuesday at 8 on GPTV.
Do you take sugar gas, guys?
Oh, yes, please. It's a really nice stove. You know, natural gas is an amazing thing. You just turn that knob and out comes the gas.
Uh-huh.
A reliable gas company is essential, actually. Anything less would jeopardize your reputation as a hostess. Your guests would think faux pas. They wouldn't say it, but they'd think it.
If Georgia Natural Gas is your choice, mention GPTV and we'll donate $10 to Georgia Public Television. Georgia Natural Gas, a sister company of Atlanta Gaslight.
Hello, I'm Michael Evans. On behalf of your Burger King franchisees across Georgia, I'd like to congratulate the student-athletes involved with these championships. Burger King is proud of our partnership with GPTV and our commitment to providing over 6 million tickets to the GHSA and 295 of its member schools.
You're watching the Georgia High School Association Football Championships on GPTV.
And welcome back to the Georgia Dome. Halftime in the single-A semifinal between Commerce and Lincoln County. And the Tigers trail the Red Devils 28-21. Coach, a very high-scoring affair. We talked to Coach Campbell as he was heading to the locker room, did David Evans. And, boy, I tell you what, he was really concerned about his quarterback, Mason.
Initially, it looked like his knee, but then they talked about it getting hit on the shin. But when you're playing on turf, every once in a while you can get these knee injuries, and it's hard to tell how the traction is different and all that. We just hope that the young man is okay.
Right.
But initially they had the ice on the shin.
Right.
So, but Coach Campbell said knee, so we just have to wait and see how the young man is.
49 points in the first half. Do we expect the same in the second half, or will it cut down?
I know that they're going to make some adjustments. Both coaches are great coaches. So they'll make adjustments defensively, and both teams are going to not probably be able to do the exact same things they did before offensively. It's a little bit easier to take that speed option away, and both teams will work on that.
Okay, I got David Evans downstairs with one of the coaches. Dave?
We're down here on the field, Coach Savage. Coach, thoughts on the first half, what you told your team? You're down by 7.
Gee, we got down by 14 there just right off the start, and I thought we was going to get run out of this place, and they hadn't even run an offensive play yet. But to our kids' credit, they came back, and I told them at half, we got one of those back. And got the ball at half, and, you know, it was a great half for people to watch. Hopefully we can make a second half out of it just the same way, except to get caught up with them.
Any type of adjustments you plan on making on defense, perhaps, or anything like that? Just to, it seems like right now the team with the ball last might end up winning.
We're going to keep doing the same thing we've been doing, because that's all we know. And, you know, hopefully it's enough.
All right, Coach, best of luck to you in the second half. Let's go back upstairs to Jim.
All right, David, thanks a lot. Coach, this ought to be an interesting second half. Let's go to Dave Gardner and Dave Cohen for the call.
All right, thanks, Jim, again. We are here getting ready to kick off the second half of action. Again, when you look back at the first half, it was a big scoring half. 2 offensive, of course, going off. Once again, I am Dave Gardner along with Dave Cohen. And Dave, as we look back at some of those first half stats, pretty impressive. It's no secret, I think, what these two are going to try to do, and that's run the football.
Well, and as we just heard Dave Evans ask the coach down there, Steve Savage, the other one that has the ball last, will that be the team that wins it? Adjustments, I'm sure, will be made. We saw a lot of ground activity in that first game. Commerce, 181 yards rushing, 34 yards passing. And when you break that down, Monte Williams had 160 of the 181 yards rushing. He had 20 carries. And we talked earlier about how many carries do we expect him to have this afternoon. Well, could see as many as 40 because he had 40 earlier in the season against Greater Atlanta Christian. He also was on the receiving end of that last touchdown for Commerce, a 34-yard reception. On the other side for Lincoln County, Xavier Wright, 16 carries, 87 yards. Stokes at 37 yards receiving. He's getting involved. And Dominique Mason, who we saw just about a short while ago, well, there he is again. Went out with that injury, seems to be back and ready to go for the second half. He was 4 of 5 passing in that first half for 21 yards. So good sign, too, for the Red Devils and their fans here to see number 9 back out on the field.
It's definitely good news for Lincoln County to see him back out here. And, of course, Commerce, you saw the graphic, 0-5 against Lincoln County all time. So the Tigers are trailing by 7 right now at the break as we get ready to kick off the third quarter. And, again, when you take a look at the keys before the game, they were going to have to stop, Lincoln County was, they were going to have to stop Monte Williams. So far, they haven't quite been able to do that. And that has been the reason why Commerce has been able to stay in this football game.
And if you're Commerce, what you've got to do is hold on to the football. They dug themselves in an earlier hole. You take away one of those turnovers, just one of those 2 first turnovers they had on their first 2 possessions, and this is a tie football game. So obviously turnovers could once again, as they did yesterday with the Charlton County-Miller County game, tell the story of the game. And again, we talked about the differences. These teams are used to playing on a little bit softer regular grass surface. And then they advance here to the semifinals. They're playing in the Georgia Dome on the turf surface. And maybe that's why we've seen a few more turnovers amongst these single-A schools.
28-21 our score. Lincoln County Red Devils again on top by a touchdown as we get ready to kick off the third quarter from the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. Coach Steve Savage of the Commerce Tigers, 22 years as a coach, 11 years as the head coach for the Tigers there. And again, they will be on the receiving end of things here to kick it off. And again, one thing Commerce has to do defensively is shut down Xavier Wright, who also had a big first half with 87 yards there. And he will look to add to that total in the second half. Again, Latrellis Glaze will kick it off for the Red Devils. And back deep will be Monte Williams and Michael Collins. They stand back at around their own 10-yard line.
What do you want to bet they're going to go right and go to number 4, Michael Collins?
They kick it straight forward there, and it does come down to Collins at the 10-yard line. Gets back to the middle, 25, and up to about the 27 or 28-yard line before he's taken down by Glaze on special teams.
Not a bad run back, but not the same kind of speed that you would see if the ball had come left into the hands of Monte Williams, and a wise decision that time by the Red Devils to go right, go to Collins, take your chances with the wide receiver. And he has a nice run back. Gives them pretty good field position at the 28.
Yeah, Commerce will go back to that power I. And again, I don't think we saw one handoff in the first half. I think it was all options and pitches to Williams pretty much. Sheeler with a carry or two, and that's all. And they go back to Williams here to begin the second half, and he drives forward for about 4 or 5 yards. Tackle that time by Wright and Shanks.
Nice run up the middle. Everybody trying to get acclimated to second half play after the halftime activities and want to get the first hits in and kind of get the blood flowing, get the adrenaline flowing, and you'll see them, I think, open things up a little bit more offensively as things get moving here.
Yeah, hopefully for Commerce they settle down here in the second half, because in that first half, their first couple possessions obviously resulted in Lincoln County touchdowns. And here the power I once again. They pitch it out to Williams, who cuts it back in. He's got the 35. Still going to be a yard or two shy of the first down. Will bring up third and short as Reggie Kreit makes the stop along with Zarin Shanks.
Pretty good job on the part of Latrellis Glaze. Also, I believe number 42 to come over and help close that hole. If you're any of the defensive players for Lincoln County, you've got to be able to, and then we see Monte Williams, 22 rushes, 176-yard total, and 2 touchdowns. If you're the Red Devil defenders, you've got to pick up on where the holes are that you've left open for a guy like Monte Williams, and everybody's going to come over and help him close them.
Big third down here, 3rd and 2, and they will hand off to Williams, but he is hit and dropped in the backfield by Xavier Wright as he puts a hat on him, and that's a big loss there to bring up 4th down. Man, oh man, Wright had that play all the way.
Well, again, we've talked about the fact that Commerce is very one-dimensional. That what they do well, but this, and there you see the pitch, and right away one of the Red Devil defenders able to get through and anticipate that Williams was going to take the pitch and wrap him up and bring him down.
Michael Collins will boot it away for Commerce, and back deep is Rick Stokes, who stands just inside his own 35. Lincoln County with the return on. Nice punt. Drives Stokes back inside his own 25-yard line. Nice block there. Oh, man, the flag comes flying in there. As Stokes running across the field there. I believe we're going to have a block in the back, though.
Going to be a clipping penalty on Zarin Shanks. It was evident to everyone in the dome, but he It's a necessary penalty, if you want to call it that, if there is such a thing, because had he not hit the guy, then it would have been a tackle in the backfield.
Yeah, that was a great punt, though. It all got started by Michael Collins. Nice high hanger, too, that allowed his coverage team to get down there.
We have clipping on the receiving team. Penalty will be half the distance to the goal. First down.
Coach Campbell not too happy about that, but I think that was the right call, and it goes all the way back inside the 15. Ball actually spotted right around the 11-yard line, so Lincoln County starts the second half deep in their own territory. Dominique Mason, though, back in the game at quarterback, so he must be feeling good enough, and now we do have a timeout called by Commerce. There you can look at the penalties today. Fairly clean ball game. Lincoln County just 2 flags for 15. Commerce with a 5-yard penalty. And you get a look at Coach Savage and Coach Campbell of Lincoln County there talking things over.
I think Chad Scoggins there you see on your screen, number 1, had a helmet problem, and he has switched out helmets, which was the reason for the timeout called by Commerce.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
And we listen in there to the huddle.
Got your face, got your mouthpiece. All right, here we go. Let's go. Solid, solid. You out.
Coach Savage, there you can look at Monte Williams. 28-21. Our score, Lincoln County, after a timeout. Back on offense, and again, they start deep in their own territory. And again, it was Commerce who had the field position go against them in the first half. And the Red Devils will have to put together another drive like they did earlier in the ball game, an 83-yard drive they've had to their credit today. But Wright has hit this time and dropped for no gain. They may have gotten the 12, close to the 13-yard line, but that's it.
Well, even though they're backed up at this point, we'll see the replay on this one, and a good job getting over, and the black jerseys just closed the hole immediately. He had absolutely nowhere to go. Lincoln County backed up deep, but Dave, you see the time of possession in that first half. They had the ball 14 and a half minutes. Took advantage of it and had the 7-point lead.
Nice play by Casey Gary, that junior coming up and making the stop on that tackle. Second down and long. They give us to Freeman this time, who gets to the 20-yard line. Nice open field tackle by Chad Scoggins, who, after replacing the headgear there, comes up with a stop. Close to a first down, still about a yard away, though.
Good to see Mason back in the ball game. Nice handoff. And nice run, cuts to his right. Sees that he's got Scoggins right in front of him, just lowers the shoulder a little bit. And able to pick up some yardage there. Brings up 3rd down and 1 with the ball on the 20.
And that was Freeman's 3rd carry of the afternoon, and a big 3rd down conversion attempt here. They bring in 2 tight. Oh, we got some movement there. I believe that was the left guard, Andy Smalley, the junior, 195-pounder. Looked like Shanks also left a little early there.
So the penalties really stalling things out here.
Illegal procedure on the offense. Penalty 5 yards. Replay 3rd down.
We were just talking about a clean first half, and all of a sudden we've had a few flags here in the early going, as you see Smalley jumping there to the left guard, and Shanks also over here close.
Looked like he fell down almost. He lost his arm, just gave out a little bit as he was getting down into the stance. And now the officials have called a timeout, or actually Lincoln County has called timeout.
Lincoln County has called one as well here. So both teams calling a timeout early on in the 3rd quarter. Both teams trying to get on the same page. 3rd down and 6 situation for Lincoln County coming up. Dominique Mason, of course, 4 of 5 for 57 yards. They haven't gone to the air that much, but when they have, they've been successful.
Mason, 21 yards passing in that first half, as you just saw, 4 of 5, but both teams primarily keeping it on the ground.
As we listen into the Commerce huddle.
They're going to change personnel. Let's go. Weak, no tight end, weak 2, all right? Let's play them, all right? Watch that quarterback.
Let's go ahead and throw it down to the sideline. David Evans, what do you got for us?
Talked to the assistants over at Lincoln County at halftime. Apparently Dominique Mason did have a shin contusion. As you can see, he's back in. He played offense and defense so far. Appears to be moving fine. Look for him to keep it up here in the second half.
Well, that's definitely great news for the Red Devils of Lincoln County to have him back in the ball game. He's in there right now, but faced with a 3rd and 6. An eye backfield this time. Receivers right and left, and a toss sweep will go to right. He gets the corner, 20, 25, and up to the 27-yard line. He's got the first down, a big 3rd down conversion that time, as Sorrow and Moore converge on the hit.
Getting a lot of speed as he catches the football. We'll see the replay. He'll take the pitch and cut to the right side at about the 11-yard line and gets some room, finds a little hole, and finally runs into just one too many black jerseys. Michael Collins at the corner came over to finish it off.
You've got to have a lot of confidence in your running game when you're 3rd and 6 or 7, and you just pitch it out to the outside there and let him pound it out. And they got the first down.
18 carries, 100 yards for him this afternoon.
So first down and 10. The give this time is straightforward to the fullback. That is 48, Casey Gary. Actually, that's Freeman.
On the replay, Mason spins. The offensive line has all broken apart at this point, which allows a lot of the black jerseys, the Commerce defensive line guys, to get and penetrate, and they're able to get in there and stop him pretty much right from the get-go.
Yeah, and Casey Gary up on that line's having a big second half here early on, and now it's 2nd down in about 8. And Mason this time looking to throw, looking deep in the flat, has a man. Oh, incomplete. He was looking for Stokes, but threw it a little wide that time, and it'll be 3rd down.
Threw it just a little bit too far in front as Stokes dove for the football. May have actually got his fingertips on him. He was open. The ball had a lot of zip on it. Nice spiral, but just threw it just a little bit too far out in front.
Yeah, that ball got there in a hurry. I think he had his hands kind of turned underneath. If he'd have had it maybe up over the top, he may have had a little bit better shot of coming down with that one. But once again, another 3rd down situation for Lincoln County. The Red Devils 3rd and 7. And Mason, on a quarterback keeper this time, has the 35 and up to about the 38. I believe he's got enough for the first down, as Chad Scoggins made the stop.
Got to credit Xavier Wright, the running back, for a nice block. We'll see this play develop. The keeper, there's number 2. Nice block to open up a hole. Mason recognizes it and is able to get 3 or 4 more yards because of that one block. There you see it from another angle as he takes down number 71, Eric Moore.
Looks like somehow the Georgia Tech playbook there. Joe Hamilton runs that play a lot where he kind of follows his man right through the hole. And it's a first down situation for Lincoln County. Stokes in motion to the left. They'll give straight forward. Oh, right hit, though, immediately by Gary that time. Also, Sheeler in on the hit. That's going to be a loss of a yard or so.
Sheeler and Casey Gary, part of that senior-led the defensive line for Commerce, able to use that strength. They broke through the broken-down offensive line and got right through, and Wright really never had a chance. The minute he had the ball, he had black jerseys in front of him.
Certainly did, and now it's going to be 2nd down and about 9. Again, 6:15 remaining now in the 3rd quarter. The winner of this ball game to host the state championship against Charlton County. Stokes to the left this time. Oh, it looked like an end around. Ball loose. Stokes still able to pick it up and try to make something out of nothing. And he will take it out at about the 38-yard line. But that could have been a disastrous play for Lincoln County. They were lucky.
Could have, with 6 minutes to play here in the 3rd quarter. A mishap on the turnaround handoff. Mason loses it. Stokes at the right place at the right time, picks it up. He wisely runs it out of bounds rather than trying to run upfield. You saw Collins was there, as was number 80, Lee Sorrow, the sophomore. And rather than risk the turnover, let's just get it out of bounds.
That was kind of timing there because Stokes was already behind or already past Mason by the time that ball was snapped. And now all of a sudden it's 3rd down and close to 10 yards. And Mason will look to throw. And does so short, but one hops it to his intended receiver. That's Casey Colvin, the tight end. And it'll bring up 4th down. Lincoln County will have to get rid of it.
On the replay, Mason had the right idea as he takes 3 steps back, locates the receiver that he wants to throw to, just threw it a little bit, well, I was going to say threw it a little bit late, but he had to kind of pull back on the ball just a little bit because of some Commerce defenders that were in front of him. On the second attempt, threw it a little bit too low and it hit the field.
We had a legal procedure call come in there as well. It is declined, so it will be 4th down. And I don't believe they had a first down, even if they had completed that pass. I think that was kind of a second or third option, throwing it short in the flat. As Andrew Smalley comes on to boot it away. 5:59 remaining in the third quarter here from the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, the Class A state semifinal. Lincoln County 28, Commerce 21. Back deep, Monte Williams. Commerce was coming on, but Lincoln able to get that ball away, and it takes a nice Red Devil bounce. Monte's going to pick it up at the 20, but a nice open field tackle by Torrey Zellers, getting down on coverage.
Williams had the right idea. The ball just bounced right up into his hands. Got a lucky bounce, and had Zellers not been right there with the speed of Monte Williams, he could have created something as he was running to the right side, the opposite side of the field. There you see him start to spin. Zellers just dives, reaches out with both hands, grabs him by the ankles and brings him down. Otherwise, it could have been trouble. We know all about the speed of Monte Williams, and if he gets a little bit of running room, if he heads to the opposite side of the field, could spell trouble for the Red Devils.
Of course, that's a dangerous play. A lot of folks are thinking he should have let that go, but actually, if you can make that catch, it's a smart play, because on this turf, that ball could have rolled another 10 yards or so. So it definitely saves his team some field position. And now Carter's looking deep. Got a man open. That's Collins in midfield. Oh, drops the football at the 42-yard line. And he'll be thinking about that one on into next week.
Yeah, that looked like a sure touchdown. He had his man beat by at least 4 or 5 steps. All he had to do was catch the football. Nice fake there by the quarterback. Carter steps back 3 steps and going to let it fly. And there you see Collins wide open at the 30, or at the 45, I should say, and just couldn't haul it in. It went right through his hands, hit him in the numbers, and that is a drop ball that, you know, he will love to have back.
There is a penalty flag down on the play. Came in a little bit later on, and man, oh man, he'll be thinking about that one.
Have an ineligible receiver, downfield on the pass, penalty 5 yards, 1st and 15.
It's probably just as good that he didn't catch that, otherwise it would have been called back. But either way, though, you want to have that one back. And man, oh man, sometimes the hardest ones to catch are those ones where you have no one around you whatsoever.
The ones when you're wide open, because you're so wide open for a split second, you think something's wrong. You lose your concentration, and that's what happened. He lost his concentration for a split second and wasn't able to hold on.
So after the penalty, it's 1st down and 15. Here you look at the penalties. That number creeping up a little bit more than it was in the first half. 20 yards in penalties now for Lincoln County. And this time Carter will keep. Not a lot there, though. Maybe 1.5 yards. That's it. As Reggie Kright and Demetrius Freeman are in on the stop.
Lucky to push that across the 15.
If you look at Carter favoring that left hand maybe a little bit. They have gotten a face mask on that. 2nd down and 13 now with 5:17 remaining in the third quarter. Lincoln County hanging on 28-21. And again, what was a shootout in the first half is now becoming somewhat of a defensive struggle here in the second.
Well, notice number 4, Michael Collins, has come back on the field, and he's at the top of your screen right now, wide right. See if they go throw his direction again.
Carter this time on the keeper trying to get outside, but Zarin Shanks is all over that one. And they may have lost another yard or so. Here you get a look also at number 8, Antonio Norman, in on the stop as well.
Seems like the last couple of times, besides the throw, when we see a replay, they're a little bit unsure about what they want to do offensively. Carter electing to keep it himself this time. I still think he was planning to look up field if he had the time. Didn't have the time because there were Red Devils all around him, and Antonio Norman did a good job. Carter 1 of 4 so far, 34 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions.
3rd down and 13 here, and also a couple of drop passes as well. And now Carter looking to throw, being pressured. Scrambles back to his left. Still on his feet, trying to get to the 25-yard line. Does so, and gets up close to a 1st down as Zarin Shanks pushes him out of bounds. It's going to be close. I don't know if he got it, though. He needed to get to about the 28-yard line.
He may be short by about 1 yard. Good job avoiding that tackle. And then looking upfield, fakes the throw, trying to throw the defenders off a little bit, lowers the shoulder as he sees a lot of Red Devil white jerseys coming at him, and just goes out of bounds. There you see it from a field level angle. Again, he turned on the speed just a little bit to get away from Latrella's glaze. Didn't see anybody upfield, just kept it himself, and he's close to the first down. They bring the chains across the field to see exactly how close.
He got it. Got the first down by the nose of the football. Great job by the camera crew for GPTV right on it. As you get a look at Daniel Carter, who stretched out his legs that time and got it by the nose of the football. Got it by the paint there on his haircut, I guess. That's right.
Gotta love that tiger paw.
They're going to look at the rushing yards here, evening up a little bit. Commerce still on top with nearly 200 yards. Lincoln County, though, with 140. And the Tigers trying to drive it out of their own end. They're out to about the 27.5. Once again, the power I. And Carter on the keeper this time trying to stretch forward. He may have a yard or two after leaning that way. Again, a big hit by Demetrius Freeman.
Was looking for the pitch out again that time. You had Monte Williams breaking to the right. Carter again, though, electing to hold on to it himself and lucky to pick up a yard, maybe. See it again from the field level. Carter, fake handoff, going to keep it himself. Never looked to his right, although he had Williams to his right towards the back a little bit. Tries to stretch it out as much as he can.
Second down and 8 for Commerce. 3:25 and counting here in the third quarter. Carter this time will hand off to Williams, who punches it in the middle for about 3 yards. Gets up to about the 34-yard line. Maurice Norman on the tackle. Williams, of course, had that huge first half. So far, Commerce really with just this possession right here as the clock goes under 3 minutes. So both teams have taken some clock off for sure. Not a lot of scoring, though. Much different half.
Well, when you look at two teams that are primarily run offense, it's a lot about ball control, and Commerce is doing that right now.
Carter this time on the keeper going nowhere. That play was kind of doomed from the beginning. Reggie Kreit was the first man there, and then Freeman came in to finish him off. And again, you're right, Dave. It looks like they're kind of indecisive on several plays what to do.
And there he goes. You see Williams at the bottom of the screen. He never had time that time to pitch it to him, but Carter 2 or 3 times here in this series has ended up keeping the ball himself and trying to make something out of nothing. And it's just, he was able to do it one time with the close first down, but the last 2 times he's fighting to pick up any kind of yardage, and they're forced to punt.
Exactly. Both teams will exchange punts here. Michael Collins will punt it away to Rick Stokes, who has the fair catch signal at the 31-yard line. And Lincoln County will take over there with 2 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Lincoln County leading by 7, 28-21, as they try to pull off the victory and perhaps host the state championship next week against Charlton County. The Indians, of course, coming in, taking business into their own hands yesterday and winning 35-19 over Miller County. So the Indians, of course, advance.
That was all about the third quarter yesterday.
It
I think
sure
we had
was.
a 7-7 game at halftime. A lot of turnovers in those 2 first quarters. They get into the third quarter. Charlton County gets on the back of Lamar Williams. He scores 3 touchdowns, and they go on to win it.
Mason this time on the keeper. Oh, the ball pops loose, and it is still on the ground. It's rolling around down there at the 24-yard line. It goes out of bounds. It will stay with Lincoln County. Casey Gary causing the fumble that time, and man, oh man.
What a huge break for the Red Devils that time. You know, I was going to comment a moment ago that when they called for the fair catch, it was a wise decision because you don't want to risk a fumble at that point. And they had pretty good field position as it was with the ball close to the 30. And they dodge a bullet that time too with that ball that it goes out of bounds. They're able to maintain possession. They really don't lose that much yardage, Dave.
Monte Williams there, you see number 7 had a couple chances at it, missed it one time, went back again, and then he's still going to make a stab at it here as it goes out of bounds. He was trying to pick it up, and he could have had 6, kind of like Dominique Mason did in the first half. Now we've got a timeout on the field called by Lincoln County, and they want to talk about it. 1:49 remaining here in the third quarter from the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. 28-21, Lincoln County leading Commerce here. It's the Class A state semifinal. I'm Dave Garner along with Dave Cohen, and of course coming up the AA contest between Cedartown and Hart County. Listen into the Commerce huddle. Another guy that's had a big impact in this ballgame has been number 71, Eric Moore, the leading tackler for Commerce. He came in with 111 tackles. He's the team leader, and he has had a couple big stops in this ballgame.
Well, it's just part of the senior-led offensive line. You know, they talk about being able to score points, which Commerce can do, but it comes down to defense, too. You've got to play well on both sides of the football, and when you've got a lot of seniors, usually, if they're good players to begin with, you're going to be a pretty good football team, and both of these teams are like that, Commerce and Lincoln County.
Ball at the 24, Mason looking to throw. He's in trouble, but he gets outside. He's got the 25 and up to the 30-yard line before being buried that time by Nick Cox and also Casey Gary once again.
Mason just has to be careful, though, does not want to re-injure the shin that he injured in the second quarter. They're going to need him for the stretch drive. Lincoln County leading it by just 7 at this point, with an entire quarter still to play.
They were worried that it was Mason's knee, too, at halftime, which it didn't appear to be, because that could have definitely been serious. But he's in there fighting away. It is going to be 3rd down and long, though, 3rd and 11 for the Lincoln County offense. Big play coming up here for both sides. Twins to the right. An eye backfield. Darian Freeman in at tailback. And Mason looking to throw. Dumps it off to right, complete at the 35. He's up to the 40 and drugged down at the 42-yard line that time by number 73, Tyson Brown. It's going to be close to another 1st down. He needed to get to about the 42-yard line, and he's right at the stick.
Did a good job after catching the football. Mason again rolls out to his right. The short little dump pass in the flat. And Wright does a good job turning upfield, picked up a few extra yards before they were finally able to bring him down. Tyson Brown made the tackle. There you see it from the field level angle. Nice little pass there, and 3 or 4 extra yards there for Xavier Wright after catching the football.
Now bring the chains out to measure it. It's going to be awfully close, but he got it by about the length of the football. I was going to ask you if you want to make a prediction on that one, but, you know, you don't want to incriminate yourself too much on those kind of plays.
Chain gang getting a workout here in the 3rd quarter.
Yes, they are. Dominique Mason has been a fighter today, coming back from an injury that didn't look that good, but was able to fight back, and he's here in the 3rd quarter moving the offense right along, and once again they get a 1st down. Ball at the 42-yard line. This time Zeller's up top, Stokes down below, and it's Darian Freeman on the top sweep trying to get to the corner, but a nice play that time by number 4 of Commerce, Michael Collins, making the hit, coming up from the secondary that time.
Collins taking out a little bit of the frustration on dropping that wide open pass on their last possession, getting it done on the defensive end. Look at the pursuit there. Look at number 4, bottom of your screen, just come across and catch up with Freeman. And a little bit of loss of yardage there behind the line of scrimmage. And Collins showing some of that speed out of the backfield.
That's it for the 3rd quarter from the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. Our score 28-21, Lincoln County over Commerce. We'll be back with the 4th quarter right after this.
You're watching member-supported GPTV, your PBS station, serving Atlanta and all of Georgia.
Funding for the broadcast of the Georgia High School Association Championships is provided by
Integrity, innovation, accountability, community commitment. We are your Touchstone Energy Cooperatives of Georgia, proud sponsor of high school sports on GPTV and the Georgia High School Association.
South Trust Bank. With over 120 locations in Georgia, South Trust offers a wide variety of financial services for all of your banking needs. At South Trust, you're not just another customer, and we're not just another bank.
And by IBEW Local 613 and the Atlanta Electrical Joint Apprenticeship Training Center, creating careers for young adults for over 50 years. Local 613 members salute the accomplishments of all students.
Did you know that the International Space Station will require 45 launches? 36 from the United States and 9 from Russia? Man's attempt to create a permanent outpost in space is a reality. New and large components will be sent up to join the growing space station. Get a behind-the-scenes look at the astronauts and the controllers on the ground as they deal with the changing dynamics of this mammoth undertaking. Space Station, The journey begins Tuesday at 8 on GPTV.
Next time on Nova, trek to the top of the world on an expedition that's putting a bold new theory to the test. Hunt for clues in a chilling mystery. Science takes a stab at cracking the Ice Age.
Tuesday at 9 on GPTV. You're watching member-supported GPTV, your PBS station, serving Atlanta and all of Georgia. GPTV, bringing you the best.
You're watching the Georgia High School Association Football Championships on GPTV.
Well, as we open up the fourth quarter of play from the Georgia Dome, 28-21, Lincoln County by a touchdown. They've got the football, trying to add to that lead. And Dominique Mason, the QB, will pull the trigger. Incomplete, though. Shot his intended receiver, Stokes, a little high that time. And the Red Devils will be faced for the third down.
Awfully lucky, though, number 6, Lamar Daniels. Almost came up with the interception on the overthrown ball there by Dominique Mason. Few steps back, settles back, locates the receiver, going to put a little bit of a zip on it, gets it up just a little bit too high. There you see the Lamar Daniels almost getting down low enough to be able to pick that ball up.
Again, Commerce down by just a touchdown. Needs a big defensive play here as you get a look at Dominique Mason's numbers on the afternoon. 5 of 9 for 58 yards. And a big third down, obvious passing situation here. Trips to the right this time. Mason, though, on the option, gives to right. Gets outside, stays on his feet, but will be short of the first down. Nice gain of about 7 or 8 yards or so, but it will bring up fourth.
Again, it was a fairly quick third quarter, Dave, and that just shows these teams primarily keeping the ball on the ground. I think we only had a couple of passing attempts, and I think we should look for more of that. Chip Wright, 21 carries today, 107 yards, 1 touchdown. The senior leading the ground game today for the Red Devils. And head coach Larry Campbell.
49 points scored in the first half, none in the third, as the teams pretty much had the ball once or twice apiece. And it may very well come down to who has the ball last, as we saw it last night in a couple close ball games. 4th down and 4 from their own 48.5, and they're going for it. Gutsy call here. I think they were probably wanting to pull the Tigers off sides, though, but Commerce would have none of it. And Lincoln County calls the timeout. They have none left in this second half, so that could play into certain situations later on in the quarter with under 11 minutes to play. You're going to look at Michael Collins, who's been big on both sides of the ball today for Commerce High School. Coach Savage, as we said earlier, 1997 Northeast Georgia Coach of the Year. He's been the head coach of Commerce for 11 years. His team trailing by a touchdown right now, and they need to get the football back.
Been a great game. Been a great game for the fans here at the Dome this afternoon.
Certainly.
Especially with all the scoring in that first half. As we watch the #1 ranked team in Class A against the number 15th ranked team.
Andrew Smalley will boot it away. Collins back deep, and it's a short punt. It will take a nice bounce, though. Collins will field it at the 13-yard line. Dangerous play there with a couple of white jerseys in his face. But he prevents his team from being backed up any further. And they'll start 1st and 10 from inside their 20.
That ball taking a bounce on the turf came right at him. He had 2 white jerseys right in front of him, and you're right. If he lets it go, they're going to be backed up even further. Did a good job fielding the football.
Yeah,
and holding on to it.
That ball will hit the carpet and roll for a while. That is one thing about artificial turf and grass.
There are no dead spots.
Exactly. Monte Williams, first half, 20 rushes for 168 yards, but so far here in the second half, just 4 times he's put his hands on the ball for 6 yards. They're not giving it to him as much here in the half. They haven't had the football all that much, though. And they will give it to him this time, though. Oh, nice cutback, gets to the 15, tries to turn the corner, gets to the 20. And I tell you what, that was a 7-yard run, but that might have been one of the nicest runs all day long, as Xavier Wright had to push him out of bounds.
Well, we commented a couple of times in that third quarter about Carter's decisions. We watched the replay here. This is everything done on his own there by Monte Williams. Tried to follow the line, had nowhere to go, cut it back to the left, and went for the sideline and was able to make something out of nothing. And it brings up second down with 2 to go.
Yeah, not a bad carry at all, 8 yards. And they'll go back to that power I with Collins split up top. They give it straight forward to the fullback, and he drives forward for the first down. That is Sheeler, number 46, the junior. Gain of about 3 or 4 yards. It'll move the sticks. And the clock winding down. 10.5 minutes, though, still plenty of time. Commerce trailing by 7. This is the drive, though. They really want to make it happen.
And they try to mix it up just a little bit. Again, everybody anticipating that the football is going to go to Monte Williams. Well, they did it once in the third quarter, I believe. Let's hand the ball off to the fullback. And they give it to Twyant Sheeler. He's able to pick up another few yards.
Carter this time will pass it complete to Collins out in the flat to the 40, still on his feet, but will step out at the 42-yard line. So a first down for Commerce. They keep the chains going. Dominique Mason forcing Collins out of bounds.
Nice reception there by number 4, Michael Collins. Quick short pass there by Carter. Finds him wide open, as you said, in the flat. Turns, surveys what kind of room he's got up the field, heads towards the sideline, and then goes out of bounds. That'll stop the clock with 10-12 to play.
Collins, 33 receptions for nearly 900 yards on the season, 15 touchdowns. He's very dangerous. Although he's been kind of quiet at receiver today, they've kept the ball on the ground most of the afternoon. But a big first down there. This time Williams in motion, and a quick toss to Collins this time. He gets up to about the 44, but is pancaked that time by Antonio Norman and Jeffrey Parks, the linebacker.
Lincoln County defense does a good job recognizing here. You see Williams in motion, trying to throw everybody off. Quick pass out on the wing to Collins. Collins, nice job catching the football, but then he looks up.
Moving at the same time prior to the snap on the offense. Penalties decline, second down.
So the penalty is declined, brings up second down. 10 minutes even remaining in the ball game. 28-21, Lincoln County on top of Commerce. Again, the Tigers ranked atop Class A this year. Find themselves needing a score. 2nd and 10. Carter this time on the options to Williams, trying to get the corner, but he's not going to get there as Chip Wright forces him out of bounds. Again, the Commerce fans wanting a late hit there, but no flags on the play.
I don't think there was much of a late hit. He just was kind of shoved out of bounds, and somebody may have fallen on top of him. Look at the pursuit there, though, by the red jerseys on the defensive line of the coming out of the backfield, trying to catch up with him. Good job there by Wright, I believe it was, to get over there and run him out of bounds. And they've done a good job so far. Take a look at the block right here. Boom. And that helps in the pursuit. Gives Wright a little bit extra time to get over there and catch up with Wright. They have done a good job denying him the corners, as he's tried a few times here to get out to the sideline and turn it upfield. They've not given that to him.
3rd down and long. Lincoln County fans on their feet. Complete to Collins at the 48-yard line. Spins off and gets to midfield. Still going to be shy of the first down by a couple of yards, but a nice throw and catch that time from Carter to Collins.
Carter going to take the snap, going to turn 2 steps, finds Collins, gets him coming across the side from the left, and he breaks 1 tackle, not able to get away from Xavier Wright. Does a good job holding on to the football in traffic. He's a good target, too. Looks to be about 6'3", 6'4". And he makes a nice catch and moves him up to midfield.
Tigers 4th down and 2. They're going for it along to the power I. They may be trying to draw Lincoln County off sides as well. There's about 7 or 8 guys in the box, and they're just standing around waiting.
Nobody moving.
Nope. Nice discipline that time up front by the Red Devils. And it forces Commerce into a timeout. They've got 1 remaining with 8:43 showing on the clock.
Neither one of these teams is going to have a timeout towards the end of the game when they might need it.
Exactly. In a close ball game like this, as Coach Savage talks to his offense, you got to wonder if they're going to go for it or if they're going to punt it away. He's talking to him. It doesn't look like any kind of a meeting you would use to punt the football away. Looks like they're talking strategy over there on the sideline. Coach Campbell trying to anticipate the next move.
Well, they've not had a lot of luck running it straight up the middle. Lincoln County's done a very good job defensively here in the second half of denying Monte Williams the ability to get out to the corner and turn it upfield. We saw the graphic a few moments ago. He had 20 carries in the first half, had only 4 carries in the third quarter.
So a big fourth down coming up here with the ball at midfield. And they're going for it. Here we go. And the pitch is to Williams, who drives forward. He's not going to get there. Big hit by the Red Devil defense. It was Latrellis Glaze, the first man through. And the ball will go over on downs.
Well, they took a chance. It just didn't work out. Got to give them credit for going for it at that point. They needed only 2 yards. Everybody in the Georgia Dome knew that it was going to go to number 7. Not much of an offensive line there to open up any holes. And Monte Williams goes for what he really for the best option that he has, and there really wasn't a lot there. And Glaze and Torrey Zellers both in there to make the stop.
Yeah, the linemen were about 3 or 4 yards downfield looking to block downfield, but they forgot about the guys up towards the line that slid off some blocks and were able to make the play.
They're probably so used to being in a position where they could do that with Monte Williams.
Exactly. So now the ball goes over, and it's Lincoln County's ball. Great field position. Mason, a keeper all the way, cuts to the 40, spins off a tackler. 35-30 and down to the 28-yard line. Lee Sorrow had to trip him up.
Showing no ill effects, Dave, of the injury that took him out in the second quarter, the shin injury, as he bounced off a couple of black jerseys that time, a couple of nice spin moves, and he picks up huge chunks of real estate. Just spins, turns upfield on the right side of the field, gets it across the 40 to the 40 to the 35, and dives across the 30, and he picks up a nice chunk of yardage that time.
Yeah, and he had to plant off that right ankle, that right leg that was holding him back there in the first half. And now it's first down and 10 inside the 30 for Lincoln County. High formation. They'll hand off to Freeman. He's hit immediately, though, that time by Eric Moore and a couple of other Tiger defenders. Jonathan Martin in there. No gain on the play as the clock counts down to 8 minutes. Lincoln County with the touchdown here, if they could eat some clock and score, could almost put this thing away.
Well, we've talked about ball control numerous times in this game so far, and I think that Lincoln County, at least they did in the first half, has done a better job maintaining possession of the football. And you're right, if they score here, really going to put Lincoln Commerce behind the 8 ball.
Ball's going to be on the 28. Second down and about 10 after a foot or so gain. This time Zellers comes in motion. Mason will look to throw. He's being pressured over there by Gary. And Mason will just have to spin out of bounds. Great coverage downfield. Kept Mason from a big play.
Well, and he did as good a job possible in that particular play of trying to create something out of what turned out to what began as nothing, because he had pressure right from the get-go as he spun out. And Dominique Mason today has rushed the ball 7 times, 37 yards, and he has 1 rushing touchdown. So the senior quarterback trying to lead the Red Devils here as we move to the midway part of the 4th and final quarter.
They'll break the huddle with a 3rd down and 7 situation. They'll spread the defense out a little bit. Commerce with 6 in the box, being pressured, is unable to get that pass away. Gets it away, but it's a one-hopper. As Chad Scoggins, number 1, there you see him on your monitor, coming in there and making the play.
Chad Scoggins, another one of the senior members of this defensive unit for Commerce, breaking through the Red Devil offensive line, getting to the quarterback, and Mason really, by the time he took a couple of steps back and turned around, that big number 1 jersey was right in his face.
Yeah, pretty good hit there on Mason. That'll wake you up in a hurry. And the ball is right outside the 25-yard line, and it's 4th down. And being as deep as they are, they're going to go ahead and go for it. So here we go, Twins up top, 1 at the bottom, and a single back for Mason. And he'll run the option. He keeps, gets down to the 20-yard line, but he's going to be shy of the 1st down. And the ball will go back over to the Commerce Tigers.
Unless it was the intention that time to just pick up as much yards as you can, knowing that if you don't get on the ground the 6 yards to the 1st down, that Commerce was still going to be deep in their own end in and around the 20-yard line. I'm surprised they didn't go to the air that time.
Yeah, Sheeler with a nice hit here, too.
They had receivers on both sides. Mason just diving forward, trying to get to the 20. He extended the ball out, but not enough, and Commerce takes over.
Yeah, both teams with big defensive stops on their last couple of possessions. And this time Carter on first down, throwing out to Collins, has another one bounce off his hands at the 26-yard line. And man, oh man, he's a little frustrated out there. As is Coach Savage.
Collins has made some nice catches so far today. This is one that you would deem catchable. Carter with a nice throw, and Collins just unable to hang on. He had Stokes right behind him. I don't know if that caused him to lose his concentration for a minute.
Well, it brings up second down, though. Second down and 10. And this time Carter looking to throw once again, being pressured. Now going backwards, looking downfield. He's got a man there. Will throw complete for Collins at the 49-yard line. And he makes up for it from the play before with a big catch and a first down.
Well, he really does, and a good job not only by Carter to avoid the oncoming Red Devil tacklers, but Collins to keep an eye on where Carter is in the field and get himself open. Carter, again, going to look back. You see they were looking right. All of a sudden, he's got all red jerseys in front of him. He's got to spin and go to the other direction. At the same time, keeping an eye and looking for number 4, his favorite receiver, Michael Collins. Collins does a good job getting back at midfield and kind of following where Carter was and getting himself in a position where Carter could see him. And those two who have hooked up numerous times this season, a big connection that time.
Exactly. Collins making a nice adjustment. Now it's Williams up the middle for about 3 yards as he punches it into Lincoln County territory. Reggie Freit on the stop.
I think Lincoln County has, not that Monte Williams cannot explode at any time, but Lincoln County after that first half has done a good job keying in on him. Anytime number 7 gets the football, you're going to see red jerseys in hot pursuit. They've done a good job here in the second half of denying him the ability to take over this football game.
6 minutes remaining in the ball game here from the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. We've got a good one here. It's the Class A state semifinal between Lincoln County and Commerce. The Tigers trailing by a touchdown, but on the move. And here's Williams on the outside. He's got the 40, and he's got enough for the first down, I believe. On second down, he picks up about 8.
Punched that one across the 40-yard line. As they work out of the eye, he's the tail of the eye, going to get the pitch. Gets a nice hole there. Give a lot of credit to number 52, Jonathan Martin, the senior, as he had a nice big block there to open up that hole as wide as it was. And Williams recognized it and picked up the first down.
You also have a decision to make, too. If you do end up scoring here, again, they're still 40 yards out, but do you tie the game up or do you try to go for 2? You still got 5 minutes. If they can put together a quick score, they can still kick the football off. But Carter this time looking to throw deep. He has a man, Collins, down there, and it's knocked away. Pass a little too high, but Stokes was all over it and tipped it away.
Dangerous play is Collins, who is a pretty good receiver, though, in double coverage. They threw the ball anyway. Collins did I don't even know if he was trying to do it, but the fact that he deflected the ball kept it from possibly being intercepted by the trailing safety.
Like you said, Collins with some height on him, you almost have to like your chances if you're throwing up a jump ball. But again, you got some good athletes on the other side, too. Stokes showed that. Showing the vertical jump there. Second down and 10 with 5:17 remaining in the ball game. Power eye once again. This time they'll sweep it out to Williams, trying to get the corner, and he will be drugged down by Wright. The ball pops loose, but he was down.
They're going to say the ground caused that fumble, or caused the ball to pop loose.
Yeah, down at the 40.
You can tell they're really got all red jerseys, a wall of red and white in front of him. He's got nowhere to go.
Penalty markers down on the play. Looks like this one will be coming back.
We have an illegal shift, 2 men moving at the same time prior to the snap on the offense. Penalties decline, second down.
So the penalty is declined, brings up second down. 10 minutes even remaining in the ball game. 28-21, Lincoln County on top of Commerce. Again, the Tigers ranked atop Class A this year. Find themselves needing a score. 2nd and 10. Carter this time on the options to Williams, trying to get the corner, but he's not going to get there as Chip Wright forces him out of bounds. Again, the Commerce fans wanting a late hit there, but no flags on the play.
I don't think there was much of a late hit. He just was kind of shoved out of bounds, and somebody may have fallen on top of him. Look at the pursuit there, though, by the red jerseys on the defensive line of the coming out of the backfield, trying to catch up with him. Good job there by Wright, I believe it was, to get over there and run him out of bounds. And they've done a good job so far. Take a look at the block right here. Boom. And that helps in the pursuit. Gives Wright a little bit extra time to get over there and catch up with Wright. They have done a good job denying him the corners, as he's tried a few times here to get out to the sideline and turn it upfield. They've not given that to him.
3rd down and long. Lincoln County fans on their feet. Completes to Collins at the 48-yard line. Spins off and gets to midfield. Still going to be shy of the 1st down by a couple of yards, but a nice throw and catch that time from Carter to Collins.
Carter going to take the snap, going to turn 2 steps, finds Collins, gets him coming across the side from the left, and he breaks 1 tackle, not able to get away from Xavier Wright. Does a good job holding on to the football in traffic. He's a good target, too. Looks to be about 6'3", 6'4", and he makes a nice catch and moves him up to midfield.
Tigers 4th down and 2. They're going for it along to the power I. They may be trying to draw Lincoln County off sides as well. There's about 7 or 8 guys in the box, and they're just standing around waiting.
Nobody moving.
Nope. Nice discipline that time up front by the Red Devils. And it forces Commerce into a timeout. They've got 1 remaining with 8:43 showing on the clock.
Neither one of these teams is going to have a timeout towards the end of the game when they might need it.
Exactly. In a close ball game like this, as Coach Savage talks to his offense, got to wonder if they're going to go for it or if they're going to punt it away. He's talking to him. It doesn't look like any kind of a meeting you would use to punt the football away. Looks like they're talking strategy over there on the sideline. Coach Campbell trying to anticipate the next move.
Well, they've not had a lot of luck running it straight up the middle. Lincoln County's done a very good job defensively here in the 2nd half of denying Monte Williams the ability to get out to the corner and turn it upfield. We saw the graphic a few moments ago. He had 20 carries in the 1st half and only 4 carries in the 3rd quarter.
So a big 4th down coming up here with the ball at midfield. And they're going for it. Here we go. And the pitch is to Williams, who drives forward. He's not going to get there. Big hit by the Red Devil defense. It was Latrellis Glaze, the first man through. And the ball will go over on down.
Well, they took a chance. It just didn't work out. Got to give them credit for going for it at that point. They needed only 2 yards. Everybody in the Georgia Dome knew that it was going to go to number 7. Not much of an offensive line there to open up any holes. And Monte Williams goes for what he really for the best option that he has, and there really wasn't a lot there. And Glaze and Torrey Zellers both in there to make the stop.
Yeah, the linemen were about 3 or 4 yards downfield looking to block downfield, but they forgot about the guys up towards the line that slid off some blocks and were able to make the play.
They're probably so used to being in a position where they could do that with Monte Williams.
Exactly. So now the ball goes over, and it's Lincoln County's ball. Great field position. Mason, a keeper all the way, cuts to the 40, spins off a tackler. 35-30 and down to the 28-yard line. Lee Sorrow had to trip him up.
Showing no ill effects, Dave, of the injury that took him out in the 2nd quarter, the shin injury, as he bounced off a couple of black jerseys that time, a couple of nice spin moves, and he picks up huge chunks of real estate. Just spins, turns upfield on the right side of the field, gets it across the 40 to the 40 to the 35, and dives across the 30, and he picks up a nice chunk of yardage that time.
Yeah, and he had to plant off that right ankle, that right leg that was holding him back there in the 1st half. And now it's 1st down and 10 inside the 30 for Lincoln County. High formation. They'll hand off to Freeman. He's hit immediately, though, that time by Eric Moore and a couple of other Tiger defenders. Jonathan Martin in there. No gain on the play as the clock counts down to 8 minutes. Lincoln County with the touchdown here, if they could eat some clock and score, could almost put this thing away.
Well, we've talked about ball control numerous times in this game so far, and I think that Lincoln County, at least they did in the first half, has done a better job maintaining possession of the football. And you're right, if they score here, really going to put Lincoln Commerce behind the 8 ball.
Ball's going to be on the 28. Second down and about 10 after a foot or so gain. This time Zellers comes in motion. Mason will look to throw. He's being pressured over there by Gary. And Mason will just have to spin out of bounds. Great coverage downfield. Kept Mason from a big play.
Well, and he did as good a job possible in that particular play of trying to create something out of what turned out what began as nothing, because he had pressure right from the get-go as he spun out. And Dominique Mason today has rushed the ball 7 times, 37 yards, and he has 1 rushing touchdown. So the senior quarterback trying to lead the Red Devils here as we move to the midway part of the 4th and final quarter.
They'll break the huddle with a 3rd down and 7 situation. They'll spread the defense out a little bit. Commerce with 6 in the box, being pressured, is unable to get that pass away. Gets it away, but it's a one-hopper. As Chad Scoggins, number 1, there you see him on your monitor, coming in there and making the play.
Chad Scoggins, another one of the senior members of this defensive unit for Commerce, breaking through the Red Devil offensive line, getting to the quarterback, and Mason really, by the time he took a couple of steps back and turned around, that big number 1 jersey was right in his face.
Yeah, pretty good hit there on Mason. That'll wake you up in a hurry. And the ball is right outside the 25-yard line, and it's 4th down. And being as deep as they are, they're going to go ahead and go for it. So here we go, Twins up top, 1 at the bottom, and a single back for Mason. And he'll run the option. He gets down to the 20-yard line, but he's going to be shy of the 1st down. And the ball will go back over to the Commerce Tigers.
Unless it was the intention that time to just pick up as much yards as you can, knowing that if you don't get on the ground the 6 yards to the 1st down, that Commerce was still going to be deep in their own end in and around the 20-yard line. I'm surprised they didn't go to the air that time.
Yeah, Sheeler with a nice hit here, too.
They had receivers on both sides. Mason just diving forward, trying to get to the 20. He extended the ball out, but not enough, and Commerce takes over.
Yeah, both teams with big defensive stops on their last couple of possessions. And this time Carter on 1st down, throwing out to Collins, has another one bounce off his hands at the 26-yard line. And man, oh man, he's a little frustrated out there. As is Coach Savage.
Collins has made some nice catches so far today. This is one that you would deem catchable. Carter with a nice throw, and Collins just unable to hang on. He had Stokes right behind him. I don't know if that caused him to lose his concentration for a minute.
It brings up 2nd down, though. 2nd down and 10. And this time Carter looking to throw once again, being pressured. Now going backwards, looking downfield. He's got a man there. Will throw complete for Collins at the 49-yard line, and he makes up for it from the play before with a big catch and a 1st down.
Well, he really does, and a good job not only by Carter to avoid the oncoming Red Devil tacklers, but Collins to keep an eye on where Carter is in the field and get himself open. Carter, again, going to look back. You see that we're looking right. All of a sudden, he's got all red jerseys in front of him. He's got to spin and go to the other direction. At the same time, keeping an eye and looking for number 4, his favorite receiver, Michael Collins. Collins does a good job getting back at midfield and kind of following where Carter was and getting himself in a position where Carter could see him. And those two who have hooked up numerous times this season, a big connection that time.
Exactly. Collins making a nice adjustment. Now it's Williams up the middle for about 3 yards as he punches it into Lincoln County territory. Reggie Fright on the stop.
I think Lincoln County has, not that Monte Williams cannot explode at any time, but Lincoln County after that first half has done a good job keying in on him. Anytime number 7 gets the football, you're going to see red jerseys in hot pursuit. They've done a good job here in the second half of denying him the ability to take over this football game.
6 minutes remaining in the ball game here from the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. They've got a good one here. It's the Class A state semifinal between Lincoln County and Commerce. The Tigers trailing by a touchdown, but on the move. And here's Williams on the outside. He's got the 40, and he's got enough for the first down, I believe. On second down, he picks up about 8.
Punched that one across the 40-yard line. They work out of the eye. He's the tail of the eye. Going to get the pitch. Gets a nice hole there. Give a lot of credit to number 52, Jonathan Martin, the senior, as he had a nice big block there to open up that hole as wide as it was. And Williams recognized it and picked up the first down.
You also have a decision to make, too. If you do end up scoring here, again, they're still 40 yards out, but do you tie the game up or do you try to go for 2? You still got 5 minutes. If they can put together a quick score, they can still kick the football off. But Carter this time looking to throw deep. He has a man, Collins, down there, and it's knocked away. Pass a little too high, but Stokes was all over it and tipped it away.
Dangerous play is Collins, who is a pretty good receiver, though, in double coverage. They threw the ball anyway. Collins did I don't even know if he was trying to do it, but the fact that he deflected the ball kept it from possibly being intercepted by the trailing safety.
Like you said, Collins, with some height on him, you almost have to like your chances if you're throwing up a jump ball. But again, you got some good athletes on the other side, too. Stokes showed that. Showing the vertical jump there. Second down and 10 with 5:17 remaining in the ball game. Power eye once again. This time they'll sweep it out to Williams, trying to get the corner, and he will be drugged down by Wright. The ball pops loose, but he was down.
They're going to say the ground caused that fumble or caused the ball to pop loose.
Yeah, down at the 40.
You can tell they're really in hot pursuit of number 7. Practically tore his jersey off that time. His pads are hanging out, not letting him get to the corners. And I'm sure when they talk about adjustments, when these coaches are telling David Evans down on the sideline, yeah, we've made adjustments, the adjustment they made, there you see Williams, 20 rushes in that first half for 168 yards. Here in the second half, half as many rushes and not nearly as many yards, just 19. Red Devils have done a good job denying him the corners.
Third down and 10. Power eye. Carter is going to keep it, then gets rid of it to Williams at the last second. And they're going to have maybe 4 or 5, close to 6 yards or so. But it is going to bring up a fourth down situation. Knocked out of bounds by Wright.
They call it 4th and 4. Carter again holds on to the ball at the split second, last second. Pitches it off to Williams. The problem with that particular play is that Williams had nowhere to go.
Yeah, they were at the short side of the field. Didn't have a lot of real estate over there. 4th down and 4. Commerce trailing by a touchdown will go for it with 4:24 remaining. Power eye once again with twins up top. And Carter looking to run the option will keep and will dive forward. He stretches out the football across the 30, and it's going to be close.
I think with the extra dive, he got it.
They're going to spot him just outside the 30-yard line. And you see where the marker's at, right around the 30, so
awfully close.
A game of inches.
They fake the handoff. Carter keeps it himself. Turns upfield, tries to fight through the oncoming red jerseys.
And they got it. The nose of the football, and again, it's been all about these close spots here in the second half. Here you can look at the run once again.
Carter again, good field vision, turns upfield, goes low when the red jerseys are right in front of him, and just with that arm just outstretches the ball, stretches out the ball as far as he can get it. Every inch counts in football. Don't let them kid you, especially in a game like this.
Exactly, and even when they don't give you that stretch, you sell it, though, and you make it look like the ball went a little further than it did. They don't normally pull it back that far when they spot it. He sold it that time, and now Carter on the option. Oh, loses the football. It's on the ground. It's picked up by Glaze, who has it at the 42-yard line. Letrellis Glaze with the recovery. And a crushing blow for the Tigers.
Well, that takes the wind out of Commerce's sails. Glaze with a big fumble recovery. If you want, very bad decision at that point to pitch the ball. And we'll see once again it takes a perfect hop, and Glaze was able to just have the ball bounce up into his hands. Threw it behind him a little bit, you see, wasn't able to hold on. Turns, and by that time, the ball has bounced up into 42's hands, and that's Glaze and Glaze has probably one of the biggest fumble recoveries in his career to this point.
Antonio Norman also forcing an early pitch. I don't think Carter was looking to pitch it maybe quite that early, and kind of threw off the timing a little bit there as well. So now the ball's at the 43-yard line in Lincoln County with 3:49. They can get a couple of first downs here, can almost run the clock out. And now the pressure is on that Tiger defense to slow down Mason and Wright and company. Receivers right and left, toss sweep over. That's Freeman in the backfield, who has the carry to the 45-yard line, a yard and a half, as Michael Collins came up to make the stop.
Well, Lincoln County only turned the ball over one time in the first half. Commerce, as you see it there, 3 fumbles today, and they've lost all 3 of them. Of course, the first 2 were huge because they both turned into touchdowns early in that first quarter, and all of a sudden, at the start of this football game, it was 14-0 in favor of Lincoln County. So turnovers have definitely hurt Commerce in this game.
It's going to be second down and about 8. They desperately need a turnover as you're going to look at Tyson Brown up front, big number 73. Lincoln County trying to hang on to the football and advance to the championship game next week. And Mason with some room, 40, 35, 30, 20, 10, touchdown, Dominique Mason.
A 55-yard run by the senior quarterback, Dominique Mason.
Man, oh man, he just exploded through there. Had all kind of room in front of him and made some nice moves.
You're right, the offensive line doing an excellent job creating a nice big hole, big gap. Commerce, of course, a little bit down and dejected after that last turnover. Dominique Mason today, 10 rushes, 101 yards, his second rushing touchdown. It was a 55-yard run again by the senior quarterback with just 2 minutes and 50 seconds to play in the football game.
So much for an injured leg, I guess.
Yeah, really. The shin's not bothering him that much.
Andrew Smalley will try to add the extra point. It's 34-21.
10 weight classes. You will be you'll be doing the bench squat and deadlift. That'll give you a total, and the clear winner in each weight class, in the 10 weight classes, will then travel to the state on March the 18th. Right. And Robert Davis at Westside in Macon has been gracious enough to host this event. He's got a great facility, and it's in a central location. But that was our objective of being able to spread out all over the state to give, to be accessible to our high schools over the state. And so the information has been mailed out now for about a week. Right. Coaches should have this, and if they don't now, you know, because of your good grace and great support, I think everybody will know about it now. And it's imperative that these coaches go ahead and contact these satellite coaches and get a foot in the door on this competition, because we'll certainly be limited this first year until we work out the logistics and everything of how many schools can come to each site.
And there's the information, and the phone number to contact you is 770-479-4112. Coach, that's a great event. I know real quick you want to talk about who you're picking for tonight's Quad A game, Brunswick-Chattahoochee.
Well, Brunswick High, I used to coach there. They've got some great coaches there and great kids. And, that's my pick.
I knew you. That's why you were at Brunswick. I had to ask you that question. Coach, thanks a lot for all the time. We appreciate what you're doing for weightlifting, for golf, and many other sports throughout the state.
You have no idea how much we appreciate the coverage that you give our kids in this state and our events that are sponsored by Georgia Athletic Association.
All right, thanks very much. All right, now for the the highlights of the Lincoln County Commerce game. Here we go. We've got plenty of them for you. A lot of points scored. We begin with Daniel Carter on the option, fumbles the ball. Ricky Stokes is Johnny on the spot, and the Red Devils have a 7-0 lead over the Tigers. Now, Carter will come back. Here he is now. Carter will come back and make a pitch to Monte Williams. And whoops, I think I lost something. Dominique Mason picks up the loose ball and runs 28 yards. The fumble recovery for the touchdown. It's 14-0 Lincoln County. Tigers put the ball then in the hands of Monte Williams again. He had 6 carries on this drive, including that 6-yard touchdown run. Lincoln County 14-7 at this point. Now the last play of the first quarter. chip right. Goes airborne from 2 yards out. Lincoln County with a 21-7 lead. Now we move to second quarter action, 21-7 Lincoln County at this point. And guess who gets the toss pitch here? It's Monte Williams. And look at this guy go. What an athlete for Commerce. He is definitely the eye of the tiger for this team. And then Monte Williams closes it out right here, makes it 21-14. And we have a ball game all of a sudden. Looking strong. Then it's Carter with the pass and connects with Monte Williams. His third touchdown of the ball game. Lincoln County 28, Commerce 21. And that's the way it ended at the half. Now we move to second half action. Commerce and Lincoln County. What a game here at the Dome. A lot of points. This is Carter on the toss pitch. Check that. This is Dominic Mason. A 54-yard touchdown run. Lincoln County with the icing on the cake. And that is your final. Lincoln County 35, Commerce 21. So next week, it's Commerce. On a early holiday vacation, Lincoln County will play host in the Single A Championship to Charlton County. There are your stats. Some impressive numbers by both teams. Total yards pretty much even across the board. But the key stat for Lincoln County, 21 points off turnovers. And that was the difference in today's Single A semifinal game. All right, we'll take a timeout. Once again, there's your final, 35-21 Lincoln County. We'll take a timeout. We'll be back with more from the Georgia Dome after this.
You're watching member-supported GPTV, your PBS station, serving Atlanta and all of Georgia.
Funding for the broadcast of the Georgia High School Association Championships is provided by
Integrity, innovation, accountability, community commitment. We are your Touchstone Energy Cooperatives of Georgia, proud sponsor of high school sports on GPTV and the Georgia High School Association.
And by IBEW Local 613 and the Atlanta Electrical Joint Apprenticeship Training Center, creating careers for young adults for over 50 years. Local 613 members salute the accomplishments of all students.
Did you know that the International Space Station will require 45 launches? 36 from the United States and 9 from Russia? Man's attempt to create a permanent outpost in space is a reality. New and large components will be sent up to join the growing space station. Get a behind-the-scenes look at the astronauts and the controllers on the ground as they deal with the changing dynamics of this mammoth undertaking. Space Station, the journey begins.
Tuesday at 8 on GPTV.
You take sugar gas, guys?
Oh, yes, please. It's a really nice stove. You know, natural gas is an amazing thing. You just turn that knob and out comes the gas.
Uh-huh.
A reliable gas company is essential, Ashley. Anything less would jeopardize your reputation as a hostess. Your guests would think faux pas. They wouldn't say it, but they'd think it.
If Georgia Natural Gas is your choice, mention GPTV and we'll donate $10 to Georgia Public Television. Georgia Natural Gas, a sister company of Atlanta Gaslight.
Hello, I'm Michael Evans. On behalf of your Burger King franchisees across Georgia, I'd like to congratulate the student-athletes involved with these championships. Burger King is proud of our partnership with GPTV and our commitment to providing over 6 million tickets to the GHSA and 295 of its member schools.
You're watching the Georgia High School Association Football Championships on GPTV.
Hi, welcome back to the Georgia Dome. This is the game that's on deck circle, I guess I can say. Hart County and Cedartown, the AA semifinal here at the Georgia Dome. Welcome back, everybody. Jim Giannacchio with the coach, Bill Raley. Coach, real quick, what a great first game.
It was a great game. It's two totally different halves. All offense first half and a lot of defense the second half. Both coaches made adjustments and took away the pitch man on the options. And Mason came back from the injury and had a great game.
What a game.
What a game. did a lot of different things to help his team win.
Really appreciate all your comments in the single A semifinal, both today and yesterday. Enjoy those championships next weekend on GPTV.
Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot, Coach. All right, now, what you've been waiting for, all the highlights from yesterday's games. We kick it off with the single A semifinal. Yesterday's game featuring Miller County and Charlton County. Don Calloway had a big game. 1-yard touchdown run made it 7-0 Miller County. But Calloway is also the team's punter. Watch this. He misses the ball right there. It looked like Bama Adams had a block. Big number 68, Ben Brantley, recovers the loose ball for the score, and we're tied at 7. Special teams played a big role throughout the entire game. Ike Calloway with the fake punt. Kevin Davis with the hit on Calloway. And again, it's big number 68, Ben Brantley, who recovers the bouncing ball. The Indians now controlled the momentum at this point. Check out this play on the kickoff. This is Cecil Reed, and watch this guy go. Some great moves. Cuts to the right side, up the sideline. A great return by Reed, and then Lamar Williams gets into the ball game. Look at Lamar go. The first of his 3 touchdowns on the day. A 14-yard run gave Charlton County a 14-7 lead. Again, special teams now played a major factor throughout the ball game. Bama Adams. Check out this on the punt return. This is a 31-yard return. And Charlton County was looking good at this point. Now, Lamar Williams gets the call again. This time, it's a 3-yard run by Lamar, and Charlton County led it 21-7. Williams, a great ball game. Then the Indians got the ball back into the hands of Lamar Williams. 6-yard touchdown run. Charlton County took a commanding 28-7 lead. Miller County comes back. Fred Hightower answers with a 5-yard run, and Charlton County's lead was 28-13. But the Indians proved to be too tough. Quarterback Kevin Davis calls his own number on a 9-yard run. Did he get in? Yeah, I'm not sure. Charlton County up 35-13 at this point. Pirates never gave up, though. Here it's Freddie Hightower, his 2nd touchdown of the day, but it's too little too late. Charlton County advances to the state finale with a 35-19 win over Miller County. Charlton County will take on Lincoln County at Lincoln County next week. Double-A highlights from yesterday. Oh, a storm was brewing coming out of Cartersville. The Hurricanes created quite a storm on the ground. Ronnie Brown, a 5-yard touchdown run. Cartersville led it over Appling County 7-0. Cartersville quarterback Chris Deach then mixed it up. A 3rd and 21, and he hooks up with receiver LaVeda Johnson for 41 yards. Cartersville led 14-0. Pirates continue to have their hands full on defense with running back Ronnie Brown. Looks as he twists and turns his way down the field. Big number 20 had a big day. Courtney Chapman then follows up with the 3-yard touchdown run. Cartersville led it at halftime, 21-0. Bob Griffith's Pirates, well, what can you say? He had a good talk with them in the locker room. They came out in the 3rd quarter, and it's Sellers with a 1-yard run. It's 21-7, but this day definitely belonged to touchdown Ronnie Brown. Here he scores on a 4-yard run. 30-7, Cartersville with the win. And next week, they'll play in the championship against the winner of Hart County or Cedartown. Let's go to AAA highlights from yesterday. Marist and Mount Zion, the War Eagles and the Bulldogs. You know, they played quite a game. We'll have the highlights for you in just a moment. Here we go. This was a defensive battle, but yet a good run here off the pitch. Michael Trapani to Andrew Cates with a big gain. Then Trapani calls his own number from a yard out. Marist had the early lead, 7-0 over Mount Zion. That's the way it remained at halftime. 3rd quarter, Mount Zion battled back. Rowan Jeffers with a 5-yard touchdown run, and we're tied at 7 apiece. Now late in the game, Bulldogs threatening, trying to get the ball in the center of the field. Rowan Jeffers on the carry, sets up this 44-yard field goal by Phil Tuller. He's missed previously a 43-yarder. That's the game winner. Look at the reaction by the coach. Is it good? You betcha. Mount Zion upsets Marist 10-7. For the Eagles, it's their 4th straight loss at the Dome. The Bulldogs will play in the championship next weekend against either Cairo or Coney County. Quad A highlights, and what a game you had here. This was definitely a tale of two halves. Lowndes quarterback Barrett Wilkes, intercepted by number 8, Bobby Cumbie. Now, the Vikings came back, though, kicked a field goal, 30-yarder by Josh Davis, and Lowndes had a 3-0 lead. Eagles come flying back on the ground. Chancey Stuckey with some great moves as he covers 65 yards. Look at Stuckey go. That set up a 2-yard touchdown run. Here it is, Travis Reeves, and Northside Warner Robins had the lead 7-3, and they would never look back on the Vikings, or at least in the first half anyway. On the Vikings' next possession, Wilkes runs into trouble again, picked off this time by Tamarco Head at the Lowndes 24-yard line. 2 plays later, Stuckey calls his own number, and Northside Warner Robins has a commanding 14-3 lead. Now, Vikings get the ball back, but not for long. Wilkes with the toss. Whoops, it didn't quite make Richardson's hands. Marlon Adams gets the bouncing ball and scores the easy TD. It's 21-3, 14 points by the Eagles in 53 seconds. Just before the half, Lowndes quarterback Barrett Wilkes gets picked off the second time. Bobby Cumbie with some fancy footwork. Look at him go. 40 yards on the play and a score. Northside Warner Robins a commanding 28-3 lead at the half. But like I said, a tale of two halves. This one proved to be unbelievable. Barrett Wilkes connects with Vince Copeland. 30 yards on the play as Copeland makes it into the end zone. And it's 28-10. Special teams played a role for Lowndes. A major role here. Michael Woods, watch this, with the block and then picks up the loose ball. You want to see how quick this guy can... Look at him turn on the afterburners. 70 yards on the play for Woods and a touchdown. And Northside Warner Robins was now only with a 12-point lead. Lowndes got the ball back. On a 4th and 17, Wilkes to Darren Richardson. A touchdown. Northside Warner Robins 28-23. Stuckey comes back. He feels the heat. Picked off. And you got this feeling that Big Mo had officially changed hands, and it did. Vikings come up with the big play of the day. The hook and ladder. Wilkes to Lofton to Darren Richardson. What a play called by Milt Miller. A few plays later, Richardson gets the call. A 2-yard run. Lowndes with the lead, 29-28. Milt Miller says, hey, guys, let's go for 2. It's Wilkes finding Vincent Burns. And Lowndes comes up with the biggest come-from-behind victory, probably of the decade, winning it 31-28. Lowndes will play host next weekend in Valdosta here on GPTV against the winner of Brunswick and Chattahoochee. I think I'm out of oxygen. It's time to take a break. Coming up, Hart County and Cedartown when we return to the Georgia Dome.